from 11 to 1. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Francis and Breakfast. Here are your hosts, Brett Scott, Sportsworthy, and Ryan Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A whole lot to get to. The madness has begun. First game tipping off a little after 11 o'clock. Gonna roll throughout the night into tomorrow for day 2 of first round action. We'll talk a ton about everything going on. A few finals already in the books. Couple games going on right now. One game that's getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes. VCU, BYU going to get started here in about 5 minutes or so. So a ton to get into over these next 3 hours. We also got to talk about the Grizzlies. They lost last night on the road in Portland against the Trailblazers. So plenty to get to. Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Bryant, good afternoon to you. And we were talking yesterday about musical and singing abilities, so therefore I won't, but the ball is tipped.
It sure is.
That's the only lyrics I know, so I'm going to stop right there.
Well, hey, you know,
I know somewhere in there is shooting star, but that's the end of the no singing.
Well, you know, the ball is tipped. That is
one shining moment. I know the lyrics are in there.
Of course, one shining moment's in there. Now, I mean, the action has started, and for the most part has gone the way most people would think, except for the Creighton-Louisville game. That has been the one, I guess, somewhat surprise, but obviously 8-9 game, that can always go either way.
We never do. I sure don't want to today. We never, ever go political here.
Right.
But this point on the first day feels like election night, early returns of 1% in from New Hampshire and Kentucky, and it really doesn't mean anything.
Right. Things are getting started, but nothing meaningful just yet.
I mean, John King's not at the big board. Steve Kornacki's not doing his thing.
Just kind of the ones you know where they're going to go.
Bill Hemmer, we can call Maine. We could have called Maine 8 weeks ago.
That's right. No, but it's been fun. Houston, they just wrapped up a big win over SIUE, 78-40. Wisconsin, an 85-66 win over Montana. Purdue, a 75-63 win over High Point. That game,
they were stressed.
That game got close at multiple different times, but High Point just couldn't get enough going to win that game. Purdue gets a 12-point win. And then maybe the biggest one of the day, the first 8-9 matchup, Creighton with an 89-75 win over Louisville. They took control about midway through the first half and really never looked back. A lot of threes, a handful of wide open threes that they were able to get. I mean, there was one right out of half, just a Kalkbrenner wide open three. I'm going, they just made 9 threes in the first half. You cannot leave their best player open for a three ball. They only finished with 11, but obviously once second half came back, they were up by 15 or so, and so you didn't really need the three balls as much as you need them in the first half. 2 games going on right now. Auburn with a 10-point lead, 41-31 at the half over Alabama State. Tony Madlock and his team after they made it out of the first 4. And then the other game going on right now, McNeese with a massive lead right now over Clemson, 23-8 right now the score for Will Wade's team. They've been forcing a lot of turnovers. They've been turning those into made baskets, and so that could be your first big upset of the day.
And if anybody at McNeese State wanted to be mad at Will Wade, sure, a lot of reason to not be so mad at him if he gets them into a round of 32 or possibly beyond at McNeese before he takes the NC State job. The Creighton game over Louisville, they were in control from the opening tip, from when the ball was tipped. There they go.
There you go.
And worked Louisville so much for Louisville and the cozy pod in Lexington, and the early game with how Creighton started it and then really worked with just a commanding margin all day. That game could have been at the Yum Center and taken a crowd out.
Yeah, I mean, and you heard it at times, I think, early in the second half, maybe about the 15-minute mark or so. I believe Louisville got within close to getting it to single digits, and it got really loud in there. And you for a split second thought, okay, maybe, and then immediately Creighton comes down and knocks down a shot, and silent after that.
It's the equivalent in football of making that third down, keeping that drive going. It just takes your spirit out. You could feel that, and I noticed that as well, Brian. And it took them out. And here in Memphis, anybody really crying over U of L's exit? Anybody?
No, I don't.
No, I know your
think
parents
so.
aren't.
Oh no, certainly not. I'm sure my dad was cheering when they went
especially
down.
the 55, maybe even 50. Well, certainly 50 and up crowd. Yeah, 50 and up crowd. Love U of L out of the tournament.
Oh yeah. Well, and we've talked about. I think you're starting to see a little bit of a generational gap there. I don't think. Certainly, my hatred is not anywhere near the hatred.
You need some gas thrown on the fire.
Yeah, exactly. I just haven't seen them, and so there's definitely a generation.
It happened to Arkansas and Texas.
Yeah.
With generationally, it's happened within the SEC in a couple of football rivalries with Ole Miss and Tennessee. Now, we got a lot of gasoline thrown on the fire the last time Ole Miss went to Knoxville. Auburn and Tennessee.
Yeah.
In SEC football, it's just not like it was.
No.
And on the flip side, Florida and Tennessee was never a thing until divisions.
No.
But then it was for 30-something years.
Yeah. That's how it happens. It can go in and out very quickly.
You got to play and fight,
right.
and sometimes not play nice with each other for it to stay heated.
As much as we hate it when they don't play
we always
nice,
want people to play nice.
It does fuel the rivalries, but I know we're going to talk a whole lot of college basketball today with all the action going on. But with how very busy show today, obviously we are out tomorrow afternoon for Ole Miss basketball, their first round game against North Carolina. We'll have pregame at 2:30 for that matchup. So we're moving some things around. A loaded show today, and so I don't know how much we even want to talk about what happened last night for the Grizzlies, but I don't know when we'll have another opportunity till about 5:30 to talk about whatever that performance was last night.
Every meteorologist weigh in that was the certified Grizaster of the year.
Oh man, I mean, that was forget whatever happened a couple weeks ago. That was it. I mean, that was pitiful last night.
Up there for this late in the year, games mattering would have to go to noted Grizaster expert Eli Savoy. I'm going to guess that ranks up there as one of the biggest.
It's got to be.
Needed that game on this tough roadie after the performance the other night. Get that one against a team that's just playing out the string in Portland, and have that. I mean, splat.
Yeah. I mean, and we talked about it yesterday. We threw out a lot of records and numbers and different things.
They all worked against the Grizzlies.
It was crazy.
Every one of those nuggets we threw out worked against them.
Every single one of them. And, now you look up if you're the Grizzlies and, 3 of your last 4 games have been losses, and it's not going to get easy. On the road against the Clippers, last time you were in LA facing the Clippers, it was right before All-Star break, and it was another one of those really poor performances on the road. You do get Utah on the road, but then after that, we talked about this stretch yesterday, Oklahoma City. Lakers, who looked really good last night against Denver, obviously a Denver team without some of their stars last night. Boston, Golden State, even on the road against Miami and Detroit won't be super easy games. And so you're right, it is a really tough stretch. You would have loved to get that win last night, but, just kind of same old when it comes to what we've been seeing with this Grizzlies. The defense was not there at all. They were not hitting shots, 8 for 30 from 3, and you were seeing it again, just way too many good looks the Grizzlies were giving up to Portland, and some of them they weren't even cashing in on, but they were able to cash in on enough of them to go out there and shoot over 40% from the field, knock down 18 3-pointers, and hold the Grizzlies to under 100 points. First time this season the Grizzlies have been held under 100.
Brian, there's been about 3 big takes through the years that I really try to stay away from. I'm not much on somebody, and this is when it had a different meaning than it does now. I'm not much on a player being the GOAT. And back then, that meant it was not greatest of all time. It meant he was the blame for losing. It's rare that one is that blame. So I've tried to use that really sparingly through the years. Another one And unfortunately, I've done it a lot more lately than I ever had over a long period of time, is somebody being out-coached.
Yeah.
Because I think usually the guy with the better players wins the game.
Yeah.
And sometimes a coach can make a big difference. And then this one from last night is possibly the easiest thing to throw out there, yet the hardest to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Effort.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And then to challenge a grown man, a professional,
yeah.
That's what he does for a living. To for some radio yahoo to talk about their effort. You better hold that back in for it to really count. Last night and a couple of times lately, I've thought the E word.
Well, I was just about to say, this isn't the first time we've had this conversation about effort.
Gigi's in South Haven, I think, over it.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And so
now he's young in his career, but he's still a grown man.
Sure, and
a professional.
Yeah.
And on his worst day of his life can do more than we can imagine.
Oh yeah, no question about that. But I mean, I think it's a real question. And last night you just. You said it. That is a game that you cannot win. I think the biggest thing, there's not many stats that you can look at on a box score and say that is an effort stat right there. 22 offensive rebounds that you gave up to Portland. That's pretty close. I mean, that's a lot of offensive rebounds to give up.
It is.
That is
disturbing.
It really is. And I mean the rebounding discrepancy last night, 65 to 40. You were out rebounded last night by Portland. You look at and I'm not trying to point him out or anything, but you look at the big man matchup of the rookies, one that we've been waiting to see. Obviously, the two highest centers picked in the draft, Zach Edey, Donovan Clingan. Donovan Clingan goes out there, gets 11 rebounds. Zach Edey's held to only 3 rebounds. Jaren Jackson only 5 rebounds. Those are your two guys that you really need them to be out there grabbing boards, and neither were able to do that. And you even go a little bit deeper. Some of the guys that you lean on off the bench to get rebounds just really wasn't there last night.
Tough one Friday night, tomorrow night in Los Angeles. Then next Tuesday night in Utah. With a loss Friday night to the Clippers. Certified grisaster inside a cluster. Just, oh my, can you believe this would be the loss in Utah?
Oh yeah. Oh, that is if you lose tomorrow night, the Jazz is unavoidable. I mean, you cannot lose that game against the Jazz. And I don't think they would, but
Did I scare you when I said cluster?
No.
Okay, good.
I trust you more than I trust some other people with that word. But how about this? I mean, this is a headline from our friend Michael Cole that was in the Commercial Appeal this morning. Memphis Grizzlies' once safe playoff spot is slipping away with late season struggles.
Fact.
That is not something I thought we would be talking about at this point in the season, but here we are. Now the Grizzlies alone in 5th place, a game behind Denver, now also a game behind the Lakers, and now 2 games behind the Houston Rockets, who are now in second. We were just talking 2 days ago about this Grizzlies team being in a tie for second place with the Rockets and the Nuggets. And then don't look behind you, because the Golden State Warriors, who have been red hot, 8-2 in their last 10 games, have been hot since acquiring Jimmy Butler. They're only 2.5 games behind you for that 6th spot. And then only 3.5 games behind you are the Clippers that you'll see tomorrow night. And then we're talking play-in when you get down to the Clippers. That's part of the play-in. You definitely don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I want to amend one thing when I was talking about GOAT, somebody being to blame. Also in there is choke. I always want to really use that at special times.
Oh, of course.
Don't want to use it much. But it was the choke when Greg Norman did it at Augusta, and I still enjoy every shot of it.
I know how you feel about Greg Norman. So
and thank goodness he can't be at the Champions Dinner. Menu unveiled. Did you see it?
I saw it, but I wasn't somewhere where I could actually look at it. What do we got?
Real quick, I'm telling you, Scotty Scheffler has our diet.
Oh, yeah.
Both of us are extremely picky. We like very few things. Appetizers, cheeseburger sliders, firecracker shrimp.
I can get behind that.
Amen, dig in. Papa Chef's meatball and ravioli bites.
I can absolutely get
First
behind
course, Texas-style chili. That means no beans like at Jason's Deli. Oh, yeah, me and Scotty Scheffler. Main course, wood-fired cowboy ribeye or black and redfish.
Oh, man.
Give me the ribeye and you can't cook it too rare. Dessert, chocolate chip skillet cookie.
Hey, Scotty, I mean,
Hope he wins it again.
a man of my heart. I mean, I love Scotty
And
Scheffler.
thank goodness Greg Norman doesn't get one bite of it.
Did you see? I don't think we talked about this because we very rarely ever bring up Liv. But at one of Liv's most recent tournaments, they had a champions dinner before the tournament, and I was very confused because I think this was a new location that they were at. So there had not been a previous champion for this tournament, if that's even what they're calling them. And so I don't know, was it just like any champion, any person that has won an event on the Live Tour gets to go to the champions dinner? Or was it the team that won last year? I was very confused of how we determined who got to go to this dinner.
I've been to small town 4-man scrambles that would have more history than the Live Champions dinner.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I will say this though, and I'm gonna say it, and then I'm gonna immediately set up the show so that you cannot say anything after I say this.
Okay.
Them playing overseas and a lot of their their play being at night on FS1, I've been watching a lot of it. Now I'm going to set up today's show before we get into top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we're talking showboats right around the corner from the start of the season for the Memphis Showboats. The roster was announced earlier today, so Steve Macy, he's going to join us. You know, we talk with Steve about the showboats throughout the season. We'll talk about what this team will look like. Obviously, new coaching staff, a lot of new with this showboats team with their first game coming up Sunday, March 30th at 11 a.m. So a lot of showboats talk in our next segment. 3:45, we're going to get back into the madness, talk about what's going on in college basketball with all of the action taking places. Right now, Auburn and Alabama State back out for the second half, and Auburn right now up 8 on the Fighting Tony Maddox.
Can't put them away.
No, they can't. A really good fight right now for Alabama State. We'll keep you updated on everything going on, and we'll definitely recap a lot at 3:45. 4 o'clock, Jason Munns, who usually joins us on Fridays, nice enough to join us this afternoon. You know him, the Commercial Appeal Tiger basketball beat writer. We'll talk a whole lot about the Tigers, what they did last week in the AAC tournament, getting that win, getting the 5 seed, and tomorrow's matchup, 1 o'clock, against Colorado State. As always, Jason Munns presented by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. 4:30, Keith Smith, nice enough to move around for us with obviously everything going on tomorrow. We'll talk with Keith Smith about the NBA from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He'll join us at 4:30. We'll get his take on what's going on with the Grizzlies and what's going on around the NBA. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston will join us to talk Tigers, a whole lot more Tiger basketball talk as we get ready for tomorrow afternoon's game. A little bit of an update that came out earlier today. Jason Munns posting it that Tyrese Hunter will be out for tomorrow's game, but Dante Harris starting to look a little better that he'll be able to give it a go this weekend. So we'll talk with both Jason and Greg about the injuries for the Tigers. 5:30, we'll get into what's trending, and at 5:45, wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's their first ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event going on right now at Family Leisure. Pools from $19.99, spas from $29.99, cold plunge and swim spas, they're priced to move. And don't forget about the patio furniture. Patio furniture sets, they're starting at $799. Stop by today and sign up, register to win either a free pool, spa, or patio set. Only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Auburn now starting to pull away a little bit of working margin, up 14 over Alabama State. Produced by Landon Schmidt. We are Sportstime. We're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line, and all our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always from our Family Leisure Studios, and this hour always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first, and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is March Madness is here. Let the madness begin. We haven't gotten much madness yet, but it's starting to brew as McNeese all over Clemson right now.
Mauling Clemson.
31-13 at half, a massive lead going into the break. You mentioned it, Auburn starting to pull away, but I am getting text messages from friends of mine asking, how many more years does Amar Knox have left? Could he be a once committed Tiger to future Tiger? He has 2 years left. For anybody that is curious, he is a redshirt sophomore, so 2 years left.
Add Amar Knox, add Billy Richmond.
Hey, an all-Memphis team.
Keep PJ.
I'd be fine with it.
Danger.
I'd absolutely be fine with it. But it's been fun. It's been a lot of the favorites winning so far. And that's to be expected this early with some of the games we've gotten. 1s versus 16s, 3 versus 14s, 4 versus 13s. But it was the 9-8 that has given us the biggest upset so far. I think this was one that a lot of people were split on. Creighton and Louisville. I think people gave Louisville the edge because in Lexington, that crowd that they would be able to bring. But Creighton came in and did what Creighton does. They knocked down a ton of threes, 9 in the first half, only finished with 11 made threes, but 9 in the first half was good enough to give them a big lead, 49-34 going into the break, and they were able to cruise after that for an 89-75 win. Some big games still coming up. This night slate is really good. You talk about Arkansas, Kansas at 6:10, Yale, Texas A&M at 6:25, Drake, Missouri at 6:35, Utah State, UCLA, UC San Diego, Michigan later tonight. Some really fun games. And for the local fans, Tennessee going tonight at 5:50 against Wofford. So a really good slate tonight. Maybe we see more upsets.
My top story is the tournament, of course, and the early afternoon action. We're in a little bit of an afternoon lull, kind of operational pause. So far, no huge upsets. Hasn't been that many things go finals, but some blowouts. But the 9 over the 8, that's not cataclysmic. We all know that through the years with brackets and in having fun. I said yesterday I thought this year was going to be one of the more chalky brackets of all time, and I'm gonna call my shot before it happens, and I'll either look right or I'll look terribly bad, and that's how it works. If it falls that way, here's my reasoning behind it. With NIL, let's say, and I don't want to pick on anybody, but let's say you go over and you get the player at North Texas State.
Sure.
You get that star off him to a big boy, to a power conference. Well, that makes that 11, 12, 13 seed that much weaker. For them to replace that guy, they have to go get a guy that proved he can't play at that level, or get someone as it trickles down, the kind of evolution here. You know, they got to go get a player at Eastern Kentucky. I hate to name anybody, but I think people know what I'm meaning by this. With NIL, we've weakened the darlings.
Yes.
I think we've weakened the double-digit teams that make the tournament. Now, tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, when we've had a 15 and a 13 win and another 16 beat a 1, I'll look like a fool.
Well,
but that's my theory right now.
I mean, I'll give you a team that I think fits that. I mean, obviously other things that went into it, but FAU, they go on this run. Their coach takes another job the year after, and everybody leaves, and they're all on teams that are, in the NCAA tournament or at least in Dayton. And then you look at, they go out and get a guy like Baba Miller, who was at Florida State, but just really couldn't get the time he needed at that level, came back down to FAU, and I think, moving in the right direction, but it was certainly a rebuild year. That's happening all over the place, so I think you could be right on that.
In college football, I think there are about 10 to 12 teams through the history of college football, last 40 years, that can really think about winning it. In college basketball, I think it's about 20. That may be going down with NIL.
It absolutely could be.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my my not top story of the day, it's got to be the Grizzlies' loss last night against the Portland Trailblazers. And just call it how we see it. That was an embarrassing loss last night. The way that it happened, the way that really the game started, and you look up 5 minutes into the game, and Portland's up 10, and it never felt like they got any closer. 115-99. It's the first time this season the Grizzlies were held under 100 points. And you look at some of the guys, the two rookies for the Grizzlies, neither played very well. Jalen Wells, 1 for 7 from the field. Zach Edey, 2 for 4 with only 3 rebounds in only 11 minutes of action. You had Santi Aldama, who played well off the bench. Desmond Bane had 20, but on the other side, for the Trailblazers, you give up 18 made threes, a lot of those with either no or little coverage. This team is a mess defensively right now. Now you didn't give up the 130 you've given up in a couple other games, but still 115 to the Portland Trailblazers, a team that has really struggled against teams that are above 500. That was not a fun game to watch last night.
You say this team's been a mess. It really has been casting about for a while now.
It has.
Salved over by that home stretch last week. Now wound reopened on this early part of the longest roadie of the year, going in the wrong direction. My not top story, Texas. They're out of the tournament. Rodney Terry is out as head coach at Texas. Should have never, ever really been picked as the head coach. They hired him when it all blew up with Chris Beard. Horns down.
Well, I was doing horns up. I guess since they lost, it's got to be horns down.
Horns down for sure. Horns down for the Longhorns. So this year in the two big sports, they're going to be real good in baseball, but we'll factor that in when we get to Omaha. Give me a grade. Football, Final Four, basketball out in Dayton.
I'll give it a C.
I'm going to give them a gentleman's B.
Wow. Okay.
A in football, D in basketball.
Yeah.
Did you go F in basketball?
I went D in basketball, and I went... Yeah, I guess I don't know how to average my grades. I
That's
guess
okay.
That would be closer to a B than
gentlemen,
a C.
I
But I'm giving it... This is Texas we're talking about.
It's the student that came to every class, sat on the front row.
No, this is Texas we're talking about.
We don't give them any.
They want great. They want to throw the horns up. They want greatness.
Well, you're right. You don't have horns up over just plucky effort, do you?
No.
They were poorly coached all year, and I talk about how good this was for a first year for them so far. Baseball's going to be real good, but football didn't end like they wanted it to. And basketball didn't even really begin.
I don't ever like saying this about teams, but maybe some people behind the scenes a little pleased that they lost that game last night.
I understand. The news was official.
Oh man!
Before he got on the bus.
Oh man! I mean the reports popping. I mean people had that in the drafts, just waiting for the moment that they got beat.
And everybody's having to move fast over NIL and portal.
Yeah, and that's going to be
portal more than NIL.
Yeah, that's going to be a big job to keep an eye on, and that could
it set off the dominoes?
It could set off the dominoes around college basketball. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we return, we're talking showboats with Steve Macy.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
For meat lovers, there's only one name you need to know. Foster's Butcher. And discover why there's nothing like it in Memphis. We offer a curated selection of premium, exotic, farm-raised animals, very nice and dry-aged to product. Steaks and sausages, and desperately prepared sides. We have everything you need to get extremely plus local specialty items and savory dishes to make. Butchers are seasoned chefs, ready to explain everything cuts, recipes, and more. Visit Foster's Butcher, open food, and see why every cut counts.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Grand. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with reservations from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Grand.
New showroom, less wait for service, and the greatest deals during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai Southbound Mariah. 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited, we Gossett 22-3-17. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We got it $24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience $25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard $26,353. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So don't miss the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai South, 2660 Mount Moriah. Online anytime, HyundaiMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
341,155, MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411, MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185, MSRP 27,020. Sonata RU 415,696, MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Whether you need to do work on 1 acre or keep up 1,000 acres, Calv Equipment has the equipment for you. For large landowners, Calv Equipment has Coyote tractors and all the implements to get your job done. For commercial cutters and you large homeowners that want the best commercial, zero-turn, stand-on, or walk-behind mowers, Calv has Exmark and Toro commercial mowers along with Red Max and Echo commercial blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. If you have land to work, Calv Equipment has the tools for you. Visit Calv Equipment, 4900 Old Summer Road, 1 block north of Summer and Mendenhall. If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Benswinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benswinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Benswinger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit BenswingerGlass.com. Benswinger Glass.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for the loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's on Highway 64 in Marlin, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is the CMC Church in Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, T-Dot still over here assisting with this earlier wreck on 40 eastbound at Hollywood. It's not backed up too bad over here just yet, but I tell you, if they don't get them out of here soon, it's going to get busier with rush hour traffic now starting to take place over on that side of town, and also trying to get through Midtown on 240 southbound at South Parkway. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Star Sports Movie,
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk some showboats, Steve Macy joins us. We talked with Steve all year last year throughout the season, and we're right around the corner from the start of another season. First game Sunday, March 30th at 11 a.m. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. We know a lot of new with this team this year, new coaching staff, some new players. What should fans expect to see from this year's Showboats team?
Well, can I start first by saying hi?
Heck
Good to see
yes.
you guys. Good to see you guys
Hello,
again.
Steve Macy.
It's been way too long, so excited to be back with you guys, and it's always fun. So appreciate you having me back, and yeah, fired up for the season to start. And it's going to, like you said, it's a lot of new. 73% new guys on the roster, and
Wow.
I think that's one of those things that what's the good news and bad news? Well, when you go 2-8, you got
Gonna
some
make
guys
changes.
returning, and what's the bad news is that you went 2-8. There's guys returning, so I think the roster overhaul was needed, and I think when if you get privately with Jim Monos, our GM, and Ken Wisenhunt, our head coach, they recognize that, and so that was a big task. And I think Jim did a wonderful job of finding guys that are a good fit and will be outstanding showboats going forward.
I do too, Steve, and set that table for Coach Wisenhunt, Super Bowl coach with the Arizona Cardinals. He may not have Kurt Warner back there, but he had Kurt Warner that came up through leagues non-traditional, and this league's a lot better than the league that Kurt Warner came up through. And I'm excited about it. Take us inside, though, for you, Steve, and the business operations compared to 2 years ago. Has this been simpler, easier for year three, historic year three for any football in Memphis, whether it was NFL, OUSFL, UFL, indoor, outdoor? Nobody ever made it to a third year.
Yeah, I think that's such a big thing, because that's what we've talked about, is sustainability of this league is so important. And when you look at some of the things that have been announced in the league, like the league headquarters, they actually have a league headquarters. It's not just some dude in his house that's running the league. There's actually staff that's in the league.
No, that was the World Football League with Chris Emmiter. I lived that in the 70s.
That's right. So, I mean, you've got those things that have been fly-by-night, and this is not that. Fox still owns 50% of this league, and they love it. If you look at how the UFL is done from a TV rating standpoint, it beat every professional league in the spring except for NASCAR and the PGA Tour. So it beat the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, the WNBA. Every other league, our TV ratings were higher. So that just tells you how incredible the desire and want to watch professional football is, and that's a big positive for us, and that's why it's not going anywhere. So that you just kind of start with that sustainability and how fortunate we are to have been part of year three here, starting up on March 30th. But in terms of the changes, man, it's been different every year. Obviously, year one, we were the USFL, 100% owned by Fox, very corporate. Loved working with some of the people I got to work with. And then year two, we scrambled and had the merger, and the UFL was formed. And we had about 17 days after the merger until we kicked off. And that was it was a fire drill last year for sure. And this year's been great. We've hired some local people. It's not just been Showboat Steve. I've got a couple marketing guys, a couple of ticket sales people, Andy Seeley, who who's our director of communications. We're actually building out a local staff that are here full-time year-round, and the amount of events we've done in town and the number of things that we've been able to be part of has been nothing short of staggering. So it's been wonderful here in year three to be able to connect a little bit more with our local community.
Yeah. You talk about, some of the overhaul of roster, and I think one thing when you talk about, getting the community excited for the season is maybe having a couple guys that have played games in Memphis, and the Showboats this year will have two of them, Jalen Allen, Joe Skates, two guys that played for the Tigers, making the roster that was announced earlier today. I know Brady White, I believe, was on the team the first year of the Showboats, and so a lot of people excited to see him back in there. But now two more Tigers that will be a part of this team. How big is that to kind of have that familiarity with a couple guys that played at the university now being back with the Showboats?
Well, unfortunately, neither one of those guys made the roster.
Oh, no.
The final cuts were today, and neither one of those guys actually made the roster. That, from a local standpoint, would have loved to have seen that, but that is the case. But there are a ton of guys that also have some local flair from Mississippi State. And we've got guys, Jonathan Adams is back.
From Arkansas State.
Phenomenal player. And we got East Tennessee State and Arkansas State was what you said, Jonathan Adams, UT Martin, Mississippi State. So we've got some guys from some local flares. It just wasn't directly from the University of Memphis, and it was hard. And, as they're making roster decisions, they were doing everything they could to say, hey, what can we do from a local standpoint to make sure we have somebody, and they ultimately just had to decide to go in a different direction.
We know the most important position in all of sport. It's quarterback. How do you feel about the quarterback play?
Well, I think they're excited about that room. I think it's been an upgrade. Troy Williams is back, but it's also somebody that, they think they can win with. And if he ends up being the starter, which I do not have an update on who the starter is going to be, but E.J. Perry and him both had really good springs. They were happy with him. They both started in spring football. They've had success in spring football. Troy Williams went to a championship game. So there are some guys that in that room they're very excited about. But I think if you had to press them and said, what's the best part of the roster overhaul, it's going to be the two lines. They feel like the offensive line that just made massive upgrades, and on the defensive side, they feel like that line might be the class of the UFL. Mm-hmm. So those are two spots where I'm very interested in seeing. I mean, I remember last year our quarterbacks were running for their lives, and it was tough, and so they feel like they've really done a good job on both sides of the line.
We talked a lot last year about kind of that going to the game, that in-stadium experience. Every time you talk to anybody that went to a game, they came out loving the experience, wanting to go back. What can fans expect this year in terms of going to games, giveaways, that sort of stuff this season at home games?
It's going to be a lot of fun, and we've hired a guy that used to work for the Grizz, and he's extremely talented at running a fantastic game, a guy named James Potter. Or Jason Potter, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And just really excited about it. You guys know JP. And
knew him
so
with the
I'm really excited
Redbirds.
about Jason. Yeah.
And the Grizzlies,
So Jason's back. Jason's with us and helping us out, and I'm really excited about having him. And the first game we're going to be celebrating champions and recognizing a bunch of kids that have won championships this year. And then week 2, home game 2, we're going to have a big wrestling event. And just every game we're going to have something really fun for fans to sink into. One of the things that we've been able to do with the stadium that, Brian, I'm not sure it's a fun thing, but it's a cool thing, is we've been able to agree to a $5 menu. So included in that is a $5 beer, which everybody wants to hear about, but also sodas and water. There's a hot dog and chip package for $5, candy, popcorn. And I think I've always wanted to be able to say, let's try that Masters tournament style of concessions, and let's see if we can get people to say, hey, I can afford to go there and eat. And that's a good positive outcome. So I think that's one of the major upgrades we're going to have, as well as we've moved ourselves back to the west side, which is everybody's preferred side to be sitting on. And so I'm excited about, of all the things, it's probably those three. Hiring Jason and then those two major upgrades at the stadium.
How will the camera shot will be west to east, won't it?
No, obviously with the press box being gone, there's no infrastructure for cameras there. So just like the Tigers did, everything's going to be shooting from the new press box from the east back towards the west, towards the construction side. And so we'll have all of our fans sitting over there.
You mentioned $5 beer. I saw the other day that Ghost River Brewery is debuting a Showboats branded beer. There's also going to be a kickoff party at Ghost River's Brewing Company on March 29th. Tell people about this partnership and that kickoff party later this month.
Sometimes you just get to do stuff that's fun, right? Sometimes you get to do stuff that's good for your brand and it's fun, and this is one of those things. And getting a chance to meet with Ghost River earlier this year and talking about ideas and concepts, and it's a really fun project, and we're going to have all of our watch parties at Ghost River, as well as this kickoff from 4 to 6 on Saturday the 29th, and that will be when we debut the new Showboats Touchdown beer. It's a light lager, so think like Bud Light, those types of flavors. Really easy drinking and smooth and delicious beer, and so it really is a fun project that we're doing, and just huge kudos to Ghost River Brewing Company, and we're excited to be able to call them a partner and a friend, and being part of the Showboats lore. And when we were talking to them, it was about, hey, what can we do to help the community? What can we do to help the Showboats? And that was the idea we talked about and got excited about it. So it's a really fun thing for us. We hope people will come out and join us on the 29th to meet some of the players and have a real pep rally. Excited about the season, and come taste the new Showboats beer.
Yeah,
we are. And Steve, I'm sure you'd probably have to get permission, and it might get a little tangled up. But if you could name it for a Showboat in the past, the name of the beer should be the Pepper Rogers beer.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was going to be tough on that side,
I'm sure.
And Brett, it would be really fun to have done that, even if it was something small and kind of a wink and a nod towards somebody
beer.
old. Yeah, but it was. We didn't want to show any sort of disrespect towards that. and it would have been great, but we felt like we needed to go in a little more generic direction.
You're in a good
rather than
direction.
trying to get that far. Yeah,
It's going to be fun. We're looking forward to visiting with you, Steve, every week. And next week, game week.
Let's go.
Game week.
Magical
I can't
name,
believe
isn't it?
Yep, it's crazy that it's already back. I mean, it happens so fast, and then you're in January. Like, all right, we're in the season time, and then it just blinks, and you're here, and we kick off on Sunday, March 30th.
Everybody else in the football world, around the bowl games, around New Year's Eve for sure, Super Bowl, well, we get a little break. Not Steve Macy. That's when the work really begins.
Very true. That's all right, though. That's fun. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it.
I know you do, Steve.
Steve, last thing for you, remind people where they can go and get tickets.
TheUFL.com or UFLshowboats.com. UFLshowboats.com. Tickets are always available there. Plus, all the information on the roster that was released today. Get information on our coaches, all the upcoming promotions, and we really hope that it's one of the things we talk about. This is a unique thing for Memphis. We're one of only 8 of these teams that has a professional spring league team, and it really is a great privilege to be able to play here in Memphis.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Brett. See you guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Steve Macy joining us to talk showboats. You're right. I mean, next
football.
week it's game week. I'm excited. We were talking in the break. I've already talked to my buddies. We're going to the first game, and it should be a lot of fun.
I know the reasonable pricing structure will work.
Oh, it's awesome.
You will sell more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I remember talking with Steve last year and him kind of saying, the affordable tickets and, just kind of come out for an afternoon and, nice weather and just bring the family out. When you combine that with, reasonably priced concession stand food, then I mean it's an absolute win-win. And instead of going to the concession stand and going, oh man, it's gonna be $20 for me to get a hot dog and a drink, if you're going there and saying it's gonna be $5 for me to get that, then yeah, everyone's gonna be getting that, and you're gonna get double and triple. So I think it's a fantastic idea, and I wish we'd see more of it around the sports world.
The magic words at Augusta National, they do it. Welcome, good morning, thank you. Normal pricing, it works. At the same time, the full screen pops up for Augusta National on the basketball.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Speaking of basketball, we're going to do an update when we return, but Gonzaga, Georgia got started. Gonzaga out to a 13-0 lead to start the game. Now 15-2. They're all over Georgia in the 8-9 game. But let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll update you on everything going on around the world of March Madness. That's next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelets, breakfast Sammies, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf are one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
When you're working outdoors, unpredictability is a norm. So take on the toughest jobs with the 2025 Honda Ranger 700. Running side-by-side with powered engine, party with reliable torque utility and smooth shifting for the trails. And you can choose between 3 trims, standard, deluxe, and the Trim Timber Force Edition. Ultimate Animals Adventures. See the 2025 Honda Ranger 700 today at Casino Honda, 5657 Mill Road, or Ranger It's time to visit Mid-South Small Engines in 2645 Mount Moriah. Call 901-794-6400. Let's get serious about your lives. Step up to the best mower brand money can buy. Skag. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than the best when it comes to mowing your lawns. There's sure to be a Skag mower that's perfect for your landscape business and Mid-South Small Engines. 2645 Mount Moriah, or call 901-794-6400. Discover your next ride at Gossett Kia on the Pike. You'll find 2025 Kia K4 LXS for less than $5 a day at $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. How about 2025 Kia K5 GT line? We Gossett at $199 a month. 2025 Kia Telluride S with more power, larger cargo bed area, and more ground clearance than Nissan Pathfinder $398 a month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease. Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime. KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
K4 SEO 87712, MSRP 25320, K5 S53 28285, MSRP 28455, Telluride SG 596204, MSRP 41060, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/2/25.
Corky's Barbecue. Cooking it up.
Down home way, hit me smoke flavor like the good old days.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. With over 175,000 cars served in our drive-thru, 4,000 online pickup orders, and 1,500 party packs delivered to offices and events every year. Corky's is your trusted go-to barbecue for parties. Our party packs start at just $6.99 per person. You can choose 1, 2, or 3 meat combos and pick your favorite sides. And as you know, Corky's always gives you plenty of food, so you never worry about running out. Whether it's pickup or delivery, we've got you covered. Corky's makes it easy to impress your guests. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to order for your next day.
Encore flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports Radio 695 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Coast. Here are your hosts, Lone Star Sports Movie and Brian Davis.
All right, so an update on everything going on in March Madness. Auburn, they are stretching their lead against Alabama State up 68-47. But hey, I mean, I know what that number is. It's still well within that spread, I believe.
What did it go off at?
32.5.
My.
So still well in that range of covering for Alabama State, which I know.
Was that the biggest first round point
I
spread?
believe so. I don't know yet about maybe Duke tomorrow could be a little bigger against whoever they're playing, Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly one of them. BYU, they're up right now as we're getting closer to halftime in that game, 34-26 over VCU. McNeese still all over Clemson, 43-22 the score of that game with about 13 minutes left in the ball game. And then Gonzaga all over Georgia, 21-3.
Who said Gonzaga didn't have a football team?
I mean, man.
3 John Stockton touchdown runs,
Yeah.
and he's the extra point kicker.
John Stockton just taking over this game. 3 touchdowns so far. Holding Georgia to only a field goal. That's
Lone John
impressive.
Casey field goal.
Wow. I mean,
Kicked
just
the winning field goal in the 87 Liberty Bowl against Arkansas.
How about that? Impressive stuff from Gonzaga. So, maybe this is where things get fun. Some more interesting games, interesting outcomes. Obviously, Gonzaga the higher seed, but I think a lot of people were kind of split on how that game would go. Certainly, McNeese, if they can pull off this win over Clemson. I should say this: Jeff Goodman tweeting a couple minutes ago that. Will Wade has not signed his contract yet at NC State. So with a result like this, maybe more people will get on the phone with them and try to pull them to their school. That's
not that uncommon, though. Sometimes just that memorandum of understanding, not necessarily legally binding, though.
No. I think Goodman just pulling legs, but I think he's going to be the next coach at NC State. But I guess something to monitor. McNeese just all over Clemson, getting it from a lot of different people. 24 bench points right now for McNeese.
Has Brad Brownell signed the new deal?
Well,
that may be the deal we need to question.
It might be. I think Brownell might be. I think he's safe, but
Alphabet
still,
Soup Bowl,
wow.
BYU 34-26 over VCU. BYU, another one that's never been to a Final Four.
That's right.
I picked him in the preseason.
You did. I have him in the Elite Eight, I think. I'd have to go
Gonzaga
double-check that.
tacks on another field goal, 23-3.
I mean, they are
A football field goal.
They look impressive right now.
All right, really, really, really small sample size. The SEC.
Well,
Last night and so far today.
Yeah, panned out too well.
Struggling Auburn for a while.
Sure.
They've got it rolling now, and Georgia just getting worked.
Yeah, and then you throw in Texas from last night, and what happened in that game where, they had Xavier beat. Up
Sure
13
did.
points in the
Just so
second
poorly
half.
coached. I saw them twice this year. Both times looked like last night. They should have appeared to be eye test better than Ole Miss and Arkansas.
Yep.
It was road games, and just gave both of them away at the end. Gave away Arkansas at the end in overtime.
Yeah, and so what we saw last night, kind of same old from Texas, and now we know they'll make a change at head coach. But you're right. If you pause everything right now, you got 1 and 2 in the first 3 games for the SEC, and I'll give Auburn the benefit of the doubt. The 1 versus 16, very easy to put that on airplane mode and just kind of get through it. But
And Georgia and Gonzaga is 8-9, but
Sure.
to be down 22 through 8 minutes.
That's the
play.
start of a blowout,
Yeah.
and that's not what you want to see in an 8-9 game. But now you look up, and both 8-9 games so far have been very one-sided. So maybe something to keep an eye on. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be if this holds. It's going to be a big night for the SEC to try to kind of flex their muscles and show, hey, we're still the SEC.
We all three, including me, SEC homer number 1, all had Gonzaga.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I didn't
good for us.
hesitate.
Good for us. No, not at all.
Landon has already paid the price with Texas, though.
Yeah, it happens. It
just hoping on Xavier to pull through now, I guess. It ain't going to change nothing.
No,
but.
but then at least you can
lessens
say
the fall.
At least you can say I knew someone was going to beat Illinois.
Am I right that you don't get both teams out there?
I think that's right.
Well, I had Brian have to come over and tell me that because on all the
did you feel slighted? Did you feel like that was correct?
No,
please tell me.
No, I feel like those, it makes it more interesting and more fun to choose. Because like yesterday, on the spot, I chose Mountain St. Mary's and they won, so I was pretty happy about that.
I'll gladly be a jerk to some, but I don't want to be to y'all.
No. I thought that was totally fair. I feel like that's part of the tournament as well. I don't think you can just say, hey, these two teams go forward.
Yeah,
but it's a track. You get 1 and 1A.
Sure, and you go on to ESPN and do a bracket.
I would always bet it. I don't think I ever want to.
That's hilarious.
Cash a
That's
ticket
great.
with it.
I did notice the other night making a bracket on ESPN that if you choose the play-in on ESPN, you just get either. When you say
really?
you get either, yeah. Which I guess I wasn't surprised with.
Well,
because,
I may need to amend that. Next year.
but ESPN.com, when you're doing it on their app, it'd be a whole nother step to try to pick the play-in or the.
What
date
are we
going to
do when we
raise
the tournament to more teams?
Who knows at that point?
We're going to start picking those games in that counting.
We will. We absolutely will. That's when we go back and amend our laws for how we pick the tournament. So
meeting adjourned.
That's right.
I agree.
Exactly. Yeah. Where's the gavel when you need it? But no, the games, they're flowing right now. And again, just real quickly, the games that are in progress right now: Auburn up 70-51 over Alabama State. McNeese up 45-27 over Clemson. BYU up 37-28 over VCU, and Gonzaga still all over Georgia. They've extended it yet again, 27-3. Gonzaga up with 11 and a half minutes left in the first half. Let's go ahead and wrap up this first hour and get to another break. When we return, we're talking all things Tiger basketball. Tiger basketball beat writer from the Commercial Appeal, Jason Munns. He joins us next to talk about the Tigers getting the 5 seed and what to expect in tomorrow's game against Colorado State. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Ozark Sports Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable. All TVs, 24 tabs for all your favorite games. Happy hour 3 6 Monday through Friday. Music, video, and upscale menu.
7712, MSRP 25320, K5 S53 28285, MSRP 28455, Telluride SG 596204, MSRP 41060, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 4225.
Hey, I tracked down my buddy Jeff Allen over at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. Hey, what's up, brother?
We're ready to rock over here, Randy. 2025 Kia K4 LXS, $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. 2025 Kia K5 GT Line, $199 a month. And a 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive with more power, larger cargo area, and more ground clearance than a Nissan Pathfinder. $398 a month. All $49.99 due at signing. 24-month lease.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
That's Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah. Online anytime, KiaMountMoriah.com.
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family and Leisure for the first time ever. With unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. I always want to say that. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure. When you're under I-40, family and fun come together.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Old defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun imported in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections, appraisals, and free bar sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsInMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Georgia Parkway behind Craiggie's Barbecue in Cordova.
It's time for the Ram Truck Month and Jeep celebration to get on down at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram beyond all the pipe. 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x2. We Gossett going on at $13,335 off MSRP. Plus 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4x4 4-wheel drive. Now $13,119 off MSRP. 2024 Dodge Vernon GT all-wheel drive. Most powerful gasoline-powered SUV in its class. $12,637 off. And 2025 Jeep Compass Latitude now just $24,796. Plus 0% for 72 months is available. So try past the rest and come to the best Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram beyond all the pipe. Online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
674023, MSRP 51650, Cherokee RC 106867, MSRP 65210, Hornet R3 A08 452, MSRP 44620, Compass SG 567704, MSRP 29765, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through end of the month with group credit, dealer stock only. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church downtown Memphis.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD's been working with a couple of earlier accidents as it starts to pick up again with more volume headed south of Memphis on 55 down through South Haven. Watching it build over here on 240 East at Airways all the way out to 385 Billmore Parkway as that starts to crank up headed out towards Collierville. Hey, if your lawn needs a little bit of help this time of the year, you need it to be a little bit greener, healthier, call Lawn Solutions at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 FM. Once again, Brett Roserby and Ryan Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios. We're about to talk Tiger basketball with Tiger basketball beat writer Jason Munns. But before we do that, let me remind you that the Tigers in the NCAA tournament, we're doing the Tiger Cash giveaway right here on Sports 56. As long as the Tigers are alive in the NCAA tournament, we'll be giving away $98.50 each day on either Sports 56 Mornings, Happy Hour, or Sports Time. Got to thank our great sponsors, Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold inspector in the Mid-South, Calb Equipment, Buster's Butcher, and Buster's Liquors. And Brett, I know you wake up earlier than I do, but I don't think I've heard any cash given away today.
I've been listening all day, and I don't think any cash has been doled out today.
I don't think so. So
Stay
I would,
real tuned.
Yeah, I would stay tuned in if I were you. But let's go ahead and talk some Tiger basketball. Jason Munns, Tiger beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, he joins us. Now, Jason, let's go all the way back to last weekend down in Fort Worth, Texas. Tigers go on to win the AAC tournament. What did you see with what they did in those 3 games, and then obviously the big surprise of Memphis getting the 5 seed from the committee?
The Tigers just took the championship. I mean, the first, obviously Wichita State and Tulane, those games were a little tight. So was the UAB game. Memphis was down at halftime to UAB, but I mean, like what we could just go down the list here. You got PJ Haggerty scoring 42 points, tying an AAC tournament record, a career high 42 points for him, and the first time that he has had more than 30 points in a game this season. So you had that going on against Wichita State. Then against Tulane, it was, like I said, it was a very tight, hotly contested game. You had Ron Hunter getting pretty heated at one point in the first half, and not in the typical Ron Hunter sort of way, not in the way that not in the showman sort of way that he tends to do. Like he was legitimately incensed. He was livid over something, and I don't think anybody's gotten a clear answer as to what it was. But Memphis fights through that one and gets the win in that game, and then against UAB, it was just the PJ Haggerty, Dane Danger, Colby Rogers show. Obviously, the Tyrese Hunter injury happened against Tulane, and so that really did kind of dampen some spirits for a little while, and it still kind of lingers. But in the face of that, like I said, I thought it was one of the better performances of the season as a team against UAB. Like Memphis just was fresher and better than UAB. You had Dane and PJ Haggerty combining for 45 points. You had Colby Rogers chipping in with 15. You had Musa Cisse grabbing 14 rebounds in that game. I think he finished with like 8 points. So Dane Danger even had 5 blocks in that game against UAB. And he got my vote for AAC Tournament Most Outstanding Player.
Good vote.
It went to PJ Haggerty.
Can't argue.
No, you cannot argue with that. I mean, 42 points is 42 points, and I think he had 20 plus in the other 2 games. But and you know what else about PJ Haggerty? He also averaged. Well, I don't know what the average is because I'm not good at math. But he had 9 rebounds against Wichita State, 9 against Tulane, and 7 against UAB. That's 8 a game.
I
mean, like I don't know. I mean, he has been everything Memphis could have hoped for and more.
Yeah.
And that is saying something because Memphis was hoping for a lot. And I mean that. Like, Memphis was expecting a lot out of PJ Haggerty, and I think he has exceeded even those expectations.
Like we talked about last week, Jason, I think he, especially with success over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, he has entered into conversation about best 1 year player if he's back next year, best 2 year players, and what the Tigers have already done. On Monday, I said a win over Colorado State makes a great year greater. 2 wins makes a great year legendary. Coffee table book.
I cannot argue with any of that. If Memphis wins tomorrow against Colorado State, that means they will have gotten as far as any Memphis team under Penny Hardaway has, and that should be celebrated. It would also mean that they've won 30 games this season, which is not easy to do. It's a very, very impressive thing, especially given the non-conference schedule that has been so well documented a few months ago. Then, obviously, a second win would double the number of NCAA tournament wins that Penny Hardaway is entering this tournament with in his first 6 seasons. That's really the best way I know how to put it. If they beat Colorado State tomorrow and then win against either Grand Canyon or Maryland on Sunday, then that will, again, be double in one weekend what Penny Hardaway has gotten in the NCAA tournament in his first 6 seasons combined.
Yeah, that's easy math when you can double something.
Yeah, and it gets you to the Sweet 16,
yeah,
right?
It does. And Jason, what it would do, I don't want to throw out college basketball names, but I'm going to use another sport. And I'm not saying he's going on even to this prolific a career, but everybody kind of felt it, and then it played out in reality. Once Phil Mickelson got that first major, it unlocked something. That first trip to the Sweet 16 could unlock something.
It could, and we could honestly. I think it would be splitting hairs, but I think it would be worth a conversation worth having, or a debate or a discussion worth having. Would getting to the Sweet 16, beating Colorado State and then winning the next game, would that be what unlocks Penny Hardaway's? Would that be? I mean, obviously that would put him over the proverbial hump, but would those 2 wins be what unlocks his, career, or would it be his coaching career, or has he already unlocked it? Did something happen? Did something was this past off season and everything that went into it on the heels of the great debacle that was last season? Did that unlock all of this?
It sure could have, Jason. And I tell you how I think, first and foremost, that it could, maybe did, and that's with people sitting on the sidelines wondering, do I write this check for NIL? Am I going to get a return on investment? Because we were scared last year's debacle, to use your word, for the end of the year, that was going to close off the money. This feels like it's going to open up new money.
Yeah, well, and of course you've got the revenue sharing that's been passed, and you've got. I think that the point that you're making there is a really, really good one. That the more success you have, the more willing people are to help you have more success. It makes it easier for university employees and coaches and whoever else to go out and say, hey, with just a little bit more, we can do a little bit more with it. And, did you like that? Well, if it helps out a little bit more, you'll really like what happens next. And so, yes, that's another big thing that's part of this entire conversation is it'll be, a win tomorrow and whatever else happens after that. If they win on Sunday, that would be very, very big for Penny Hardaway's professional, profile, his legacy, whatever you want to say. But it would also set it, in theory, it would also set up the Memphis Tigers basketball program for even more success. Because it doesn't feel like, honestly, to me, it does not feel like this is not a flash in the pan situation. It doesn't feel like to me. Penny Hardaway has proven over a number of years to be extremely good at building teams, getting high quality play. I mean, I keep going back to this, but I think it's worth it. In the last 3 seasons, Penny Hardaway has rewritten the single season scoring record book as a coach. He's got in the top, I think now it's the top 6. He's had 3 of the top 6 single season scorers in program history in the last 3 seasons consecutively. So, like, there's no reason to think that this is a one-off type of deal. And if you have the kind of success that has eluded Memphis so far in March, if you actually finally do get over that hump, then I think it would set this program up for some really, really, really bright days ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Jason Munz, he joins us every week to talk Tiger basketball. Let's talk about the opponent for tomorrow afternoon, Colorado State. A lot of people picking this as kind of the upset pick. They're betting favorites, Colorado State is, as the 12 seed out in Vegas. What do you see when you see this team? A very hot team, 10 wins in a row. They've been shooting the 3-ball extremely well over this 10-game win streak. What do you see in Colorado State?
I see a team that is playing really well, and a team that has talent, a team that is very well coached. However, and I talked about this on our podcast that published this morning on commercialappeal.com, I don't see why so many people I don't see why so many people are picking Colorado State to win this game tomorrow. And purely, I say that purely from a matchup standpoint. Like, yes, and we can talk about. I don't know if it's getting ahead of ourselves, but like, I do understand that a big part of it is Tyrese Hunter's status. Mm-hmm. He said earlier today that he is definitely not playing tomorrow. So, I get that, and I understand that his primary backup, Dante Harris, probably isn't going to play either. Although it sounds and looks like he's getting much closer to returning, which would be huge for Memphis. But if you just do you know how many quad 1 wins Colorado State has?
3?
Yes, half the number that Memphis has. They have 3 quad 1 wins. Do you know how many they had going into their conference tournament?
1.
1, correct. Their best non-conference win, Colorado State's best non-conference win, is an overtime win on a neutral floor against a 16-16 TCU team that is sitting at home right now.
I so agree. How did this week Colorado State become a mix of the 76 Indiana Hoosiers and the 76 Boston Celtics?
This is not me saying that I think Colorado State is going to lose. That Memphis, I'm not saying that I think, even though I do think Memphis is going to win. This is not me saying that is definitely going to happen. But I mean, honestly, I think it's the fact that they have won 10 games in a row, and they picked up 2 quad 1 wins in the last week. So I think those, let's not lose sight of the fact that Colorado State did not have to play New Mexico in the Mountain West tournament. Mm-hmm. Okay, a New Mexico team that beat Colorado State twice in the regular season. They did not. I'm not so sure that Colorado State would be playing Memphis tomorrow if they had to face New Mexico in the Mountain West tournament.
There's no point in the year they would have been favored over Memphis except for the Hunter injury.
Yeah, and listen, Nick Clifford is getting first-round draft buzz attention for a very good reason. He is a very, very good player. 6'6" guard who can do it all. He's averaging like 19-plus points a game, almost 10 rebounds a game. I believe he leads the team in assists. Like, he's really, really good. But Memphis has shut down really, really good players before. And he doesn't, if you just kind of look at their team, he doesn't have a ton of help, or at least he doesn't have as much help as P.J. Haggerty has. I'll just say it that way. P.J. Haggerty is a consensus All-American, but he's also got Dane Danger, who is a unanimous first-team All-AAC player who is playing like, I would say, one of the 5 best bigs in the country the last month and a half. So Nick Clifford doesn't have a running mate the way that P.J. Haggerty does. So, and the other thing is, we've talked about this all season, Memphis struggles against long athletic teams. Colorado State is not a long athletic team. Colorado State is ranked 183rd in the country in average height. That does not bode, that bodes really well for Dane Danger, Musa Cisse, and Nicholas Jourdain. So I just, again, it just kind of baffling to me a little bit. I think Memphis is going to win. This is not me saying that Memphis will win, but it is me saying that I don't understand why there's why so many people are so high on Colorado State beating Memphis.
What would be the first early indicator from Tiger fans' perspective of, oh no, we really missed Hunter?
I would say, I don't know that you would be able to determine that until it's late in the game. Don't get me wrong, he's extremely valuable. And I made the case last week that he's the most important player on the team. Now, I don't know that it would show up necessarily until it's in the event that it is close and late.
Is it points? Is it turnovers? Both?
No, I don't know that it's any one thing. Honestly, I think it's probably just his presence. I talked about this a lot during the season, that a big reason why I was so confident in Memphis getting to the second week in Memphis' Sweet 16 potential this season was because of him. He is 6-3 in March individually. He's never had a season in college where he and his team did not win at least one game in the NCAA tournament. He's been to the Elite Eight. He's been to the Sweet 16 twice. This is a player who, that sort of thing makes a difference in March. When you have a player, especially a guard, who's been there, who's been through the wars, and who's had success, who knows what success looks like. You don't have that. And so I think that is going to be what they miss more than his three-pointers or his ability to create for others. They are going to miss those things too. Don't get me wrong, but I think that what Memphis, again, they didn't have him against UAB, and they were down at halftime, and then stormed back and won the game. And like I said, they didn't have him. What would worry me is when there's a minute and a half left on the clock and Memphis is down 5. If you have Tyrese Hunter, you wouldn't worry necessarily as much, or I wouldn't if I was a Memphis fan. Without him, it's a little dicier.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be fun to see what Tigers can do tomorrow afternoon against Colorado State. Jason, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jason. Be safe. Jason Munn's with us from the Commercial Appeal on all things Tigers. He's been with us all season long, brought to you by the great people at Jim's Place Grill. Over 100 years of charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of celebrations, family time, and lasting memories. The Terrace family with their touch for our community, with recipes that date back to the beginning in downtown to now in Collierville at the railroad tracks at Poplar and Houston Levee. Online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the E and Grill every steak grilled perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's and taste and see and feel the difference. Lunch hours, Monday through Friday, 11 a to 2 p.m. Dinner hours, Monday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. All the games on and everybody enjoying the tournament at Jim's Place. Since 1921, a Memphis landmark, hard work, values, and a dedication to their diners, the Terrace family. They've created that memorable dining experience. At lunch, the staples like the souffle ma, the shrimp cocktail, crab cakes, and those salad dressings, all homemade. At dinner, the calamari, soup, seafood, and the steaks, ribeyes, fillets, and strips. The great bar area for you and your friends to enjoy, all at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville.
Well, let's go ahead and get to another break. When we come back, we got to switch gears. We've talked a whole lot of college basketball today, but we got to switch gears and talk the NBA. Before we do that, quick update on what's going on in college basketball. McNeese still up 55-40 over Clemson. BYU up 48-34 over VCU as that second half just got started a couple minutes ago, and Gonzaga up 40-23 over over Georgia with about 3:40 left in the first half. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we return, we're talking NBA with Keith Smith.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good the base will marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from the Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family of families still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Everyone needs protection, whether you're on the field or on the road, so make sure you have the best. Bob Simpson State Farm Insurance can buckle you up with auto insurance, can back you up with life and health insurance, cover your business whether it's starting, growing, or maturing, and don't forget to insure your home, no matter if you're an owner or a renter. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Simpson today at 901-381-1233 or go online and get a free quote at bobsimpson.org. Stay protected with your good neighbor, Bob Simpson.
March is known for its madness, but this year the madness means money for Sports 56 listeners. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM will be giving away $98.50 a day for as long as the University of Memphis stays alive in the NCAA basketball tournament. That's right, when the Tigers win, more listeners win. Every time the Tigers advance, more Sports 56 listeners will be putting cash in their pocket. Listen to the Sports 56 morning, happy hour, and Sports Time once the brackets are announced. As long as the Tigers are in the tournament, one of the shows is giving away $98.50 each day. Once the Tigers are out, the cash is out too. So we're on the Tigers. Keep winning and keep listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for your chance to win some of that cash. The Sports 56 and 98.5 FM Tiger Cash giveaway is brought to you by Mid-South Small Engine, Memphis Road Inspector, Valve Equipment, and Buster's Butcher, Buster's Liquor.
Hey
Mid-South. Get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. Read Gossett. $199 a month or buy for $16,605. Gets 43 MPG. Need more room? Take your pick from 2024 Outlander plug-in hybrid PHEV or 2024 Outlander. Just $399 a month. And listen up, because all remaining new 2024 Gossett Mitsubishis are now $2,000 off MSRP. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 18605, PHEV RZO 59821, MSRP 489, Outlander RZO 67325, MSRP 33210, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
The madness is here this Friday in the Owners Box Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. It's the place to be for all the games. Fun, exciting, friendly, comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs, full bar, all your favorite beers, happy hour 3 to 6 Monday through Friday, an upscale menu. Come see me, Johnny Radio, this Friday 11 to 1. A little warm-up for the Tiger game that starts at 1 p.m. I'll be giving away $50 in gift cards every 30 minutes. The Owners Box Bar and Grill.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Wrapping up this wreck, it's had traffic slow over here on 240 westbound, just past Mill Branch. Again, give yourself a little extra time in this area as they clean up this accident. 240 west past Mill Branch. At one point, it was backed up to Airways going eastbound in this area. It's picked up also from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 Billboard Parkway going outbound. Hey, if your lawn needs a little bit of help this time of the year, don't worry. Call Lawn Solutions 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith joins us now to talk the NBA from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. Keith, we are not in good spirits here in Memphis, Tennessee, after what we've seen from the Grizzlies. An embarrassing loss last night against the Portland Trailblazers. What have you seen from this Grizzlies team, especially since returning from the All-Star break?
Yeah, I think especially here in the recent days, you're seeing just how important Ja Morant is to this team. Anybody who was kind of mentioning things when he's been out of, well, we're okay without him. Maybe we could, move him in a trade. You're seeing how important he is. He's the engine that makes everything go for this Memphis team. If we expand back a little, yeah, they're going through right now. Some of it's been injury related, of course, but a lot of it's just been uneven play, not locked in defensively the way they need to be. And it's a little worrisome because this is when, if you're a team that's in a fight proceeding in the conference, you're hoping that you're seeing them kind of round into playoff form. And instead, we've seen it go a little bit the other way.
Yeah, no, we absolutely are. And, I mean, just last night against Portland, you also had a couple games where Jaren was out. But what do you make of these injuries with Ja Morant? Because it feels like, obviously, missed him pretty much all of last season. And now this year, it feels like he's in and then he's out for 2 or 3 games and he's in for a game or 2 and right back out. What are you making of kind of his availability this season?
Yeah, it's getting concerning that he keeps picking up new injuries as we go. The shoulder is one thing. I know he's talked about how that isn't really going to be right until he has a chance to sit after the season. But what's really worrisome is, now it's a hamstring injury. Once you start getting those soft tissue injuries, you really have to take the time to let those heal up, because we've all seen, the hamstring comes up, then the guy tries to come back, and then it pops again, and then he's out, just as long or even longer. So those are a little worrisome there. And then, I think this is also the importance of not to take anything away from Scottie Pippen Jr. or Luke Kennard, who have done a nice job, but you no longer have the benefit of having a Tyus Jones, who is for years and years and years considered to be the best backup point guard in the NBA, and that might be a place where every once in a while it'll feel like a luxury when John Morant's around, but when he's not around, you feel like that's a position you may need to invest a little more in.
The seeding is going the wrong way. Right now, where would you want it for the drop to stop? What seed?
Yeah, you really want to be 2 or 3. I think you want to try to avoid Oklahoma City. I know there's questions about the Thunder and, how deep can they go and where have they been and all those things. But I think you want to try to get on the opposite side of the bracket of them. 4 or 5, that's already going to be a tough matchup. You're going to face a really good team if you're in there. And then if you get through, you're probably playing the Thunder in the second round. And that, there's a good chance that's going to mean your playoff run is going to be very short. So ideally, you get into the 2-3 range. I know some have talked about, maybe they drop to 6 or even down into the playing tournament. I don't know that we're going to get quite down to those levels, but we'll see. If they can't reverse this here in the next couple of games, then that becomes a lot more of a reality. But yeah, I think, ideally you want to stay in the mix, try to get second or third, and then take your chances with the matchups from there.
We know you're a Celtics guy. What'd you make of the news this morning? Celtics sold for $6.1 billion?
Made $360 million last year.
Crazy.
Yeah, pretty nice investment if you can pull that off. That's a, I don't even know what that works out to. About almost a 20-time return on investment there. So that's pretty well done. But yeah, I think a couple things. Bill Chisholm coming in. He's a Boston guy who was born in Boston, went to school in New England at Dartmouth. He's been a lifelong Celtics fan. The things he's saying in his public statements of, hey, my goal is to come in here, let the people who are doing a good job continue to do a good job, write checks and hang banners. That's everything you want to hear. As I always say, the job of an owner is pick the right people to run the team, stay out of the way, and write really big checks.
That's it.
That's all you really want out of an ownership, group. Now, it's very easy to say that here in the excitement of we won the bidding, we're going to get the team and all that. Let's see, how that plays out, over the next course of months and years, because it's going to take a little while to become in full effect. But I think everybody seems to be, pretty happy with this. And then for the NBA as a whole, they have to be thrilled. They've kind of slow played the expansion process to be, all right, let's hold off. We really want to see what happens with the Celtics sale. And that coming up at $6.1 billion means, when they go into expansion talks, they can now feel very confident asking $4 or $5 billion for the expansion rights for these teams, because that, they can say, hey, you're buying in to a league where the cost of franchises, or rather the valuation of franchises, is going up. So that's going to be huge for the league as well.
Keith was the former owner, Wick Grusbeck, and most of his group. Were they native Bostonians?
Yeah, they're Boston people as well. Yeah, so they've been there a long time. Steve Pagliuca, who was like his minority owner, but like the right-hand man, he tried to put together a group to buy the team. He's also a Boston guy. So yeah, that's really important, I think, for a legacy franchise like the Celtics. The last thing they wanted to see was somebody buy them as just an investment vehicle. They want someone who believes into the team, someone who's really engaged with the team and in the community. That's really important to the people in Boston.
It is the high standard that's been set in that town by John Henry and by the Crafts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the Bruins are a little bit of a different story. They're not always the highest thought of ownership group, but yeah, in general, I mean, there's very little patience if you're not going to win, and then in order to win, they know you need to spend in these sports, and if you're not going to do that, people start to lose patience pretty quickly. So I think people are going to be pretty excited if they come in and kind of keep it almost business as usual. Wick Grusbeck, very famous. The end of the year, and if that's what Chisholm and the ownership group do while continuing to drive winning, they're going to be very happy in Boston.
Now, his partner that didn't get the team, help me with the pronunciation again.
Pagliuca.
He's the big Dookie, isn't he? He's a big Duke fan.
Yeah, yeah. So him and so he's and we're gonna see where that goes, whether he stays involved as a minority owner. He referenced in his statement, if anything happens, they're ready to step right forward and kind of take back, and say, hey, we'll step up and do this. So we'll see if he stays involved or not. But yeah, it's and then again, even going back to it prospect too. One of the big things that's been important is they've had a very high level involvement in the community, both on their own and through the Celtics, and that's something that I think people miss with the NBA. How involved all NBA teams are doing great things in their community. The teams, the owners, the players, the coaches. That's when people start to throw around a lot of the spoiled millionaire stuff. That's where I like to always counter back with, let's take a look at what a lot of these guys do in the community, because it's pretty important work. Put a lot of time, effort, and money in.
Well, that's the perfect opening. Not that it matters that much, but the new owner, Mr. Chisholm, how did he make his money?
Yeah, he's the managing partner of a technology group. And my guess is, through that, whether that's, through options he had in the companies or whatnot, the Forbes rated him out as a net worth of $7.5 billion. So, even, the $6.1 billion, I have to keep reminding people, that's a valuation. That's not exactly what he's buying into, because he's not buying in at 100% value of the team. He's going to be buying a portion of the team, but he's still going to be fine. And that's what, sometimes gets worried with some of these ownership groups. They can raise the funds to buy the team, and then they're cash poor after that. And that's when often we see, hey, we had to trade a player because, we got to get payroll in line and all those sort of things. But it sounds like, his money is, fairly solid and, in a pretty good place, so we'll kind of see where that goes.
While we're on the Celtics, I want to stay with this because it's pertinent with his success in the NCAA tournament and what a disaster it was for Rick Pitino as the head coach of the Boston Celtics. And everybody thought it would just be storybook, and it was anything but that. Keith, the new documentary that's getting is it out yet? Is the Celtic documentary, is it out yet?
It's out yet.
Yeah, it's been out. I think there's 3 episodes in or so.
Okay.
Over on HBO, yeah, I think it's 3 episodes in.
All right, it can't be flattering when it gets to the Pitino years, can it?
Yeah, they haven't gotten there yet, but he's been in it in little snippets. And they're supposedly, so we're that kind of in the history of the team right now. The last episode ended with Larry Bird joining the Celtics. So I think we're going to see an episode that's going to probably be focused on the Bird years. Then I think the one after that will be what we, in Celtics land call the Dark Ages, which was during the Pitino years.
Yeah. Keith, obviously March Madness going on right now. Who are some draft prospects you're keeping an eye on over the next couple of days?
Yeah, obviously the big ones you're looking at are guys like Cooper Flagg. The next couple of guys on most boards didn't make it. Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. So then as we get down a little further, VJ Edgecombe of Baylor. We're going to see what he looks like. We may, if they both win, we'll get VJ Edgecombe versus Cooper Flagg in the second round, which would be a lot of fun. Liam McNeely of UConn, Derek Queen of Maryland, Kasper Yakushonis of Illinois, a guard who's a pretty good ball handler. Janai Broom is a kid who there's evaluations all over the board. I like him a lot. I don't worry quite as much about age as some others do when I'm putting together a draft board. So I think he's a guy who should definitely be a first-round pick, but a lot of other people have him as a second-rounder. So we'll see where that goes. If he can have a big tournament run, that'll help him quite a bit. So there's quite a few guys, unlike last year, where a lot of the top 100 guys were international players and guys who didn't make the tournament. This year, the tournament's loaded with prospects.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I mean, it feels like certainly last year, even the year before, when we're talking about a lot of these top draft prospects, it was a lot of international guys. This year, they are scattered all over the place in college basketball and in March Madness. So it will be a lot of fun kind of seeing these guys that will be in the NBA next year. You mentioned VJ Edgecombe. What do you think of him? Because Baylor has been kind of down this year, but if you just watch Baylor play, you can see the type of player he is. He's incredible to watch.
Yeah, so he popped for me big time last summer during the Olympic qualifying tournament. He was playing on the Bahamas team with DeAndre Ayton and Eric Gordon and some other guys who are NBA level guys, and he was the best player on that team. He is ready to defend in the NBA right now. Today, you could put him on a floor and he'd be fine as an NBA defensive player. So I really like him. His shot's going to take some work, but he can do some playmaking with the ball in his hands. He's a really hardworking kid. When you talk to people about him, you never hear anything bad. The Baylor team's been a little messy. Their guard play has been kind of rough at times this year, which has caused them to have some issues. Their bigs are a little bit sketchy, but VJ Edgecombe can really play.
Yeah. Well, Keith, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Keith. Keith Smith with us talking NBA from Spotrac in the front office show. And I want to watch the Celtic history because with the Lakers, that's the two deepest histories in the NBA.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, just it's so deep. He talked about. I mean, there's so many different chapters that you can kind of go into.
Knicks would be a distant third, wouldn't it?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think it definitely would be 3. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to kind of get that entire storybook history of the Celtics.
So if they're into the Bird years.
Well,
that's prime time.
That's right. That's prime time. And like he said, it's about to get to the dark ages, which I love that.
You can call it tournament time. You can call it spring fever, all of that. And everybody is looking for something new to drive at this time of year. And All-Star Chevrolet right there in Olive Branch, they're loaded up for truck month. And every Silverado you can imagine at All-Star with financing down to 2.9 up to $3,000 cash back for you. If you want a new 2500 Series HD Silverado, All-Star, they have them. No payment for 90 days. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star. If your budget is in the 20s or 30s, a lot of people it is, and the price point, they've got that covered. You got to love all the affordable new All-Star Chevys, the new Blazers, the new Equinox, and new Colorado trucks. If you're law enforcement, educator, military, first responder, healthcare worker, recent grad, an instant extra $500 bonus back. Every certified Chevy and all the pre-owns you can imagine, they have them in one place at All-Star. Tahoes, Camaros, Sierras, Suburbans, and a ton of Silverados. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star, and you'll get the most money back for it, even if you didn't buy it at All-Star. Together, let's drive what we really want to drive in spring, and that's something from All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, we need to get to another break. We just had a final in the NCAA tournament. McNeese, a 2-point win over Clemson, 69-67.
There's some blood.
There's some blood there. Clemson, 54 points in the second half to storm all the way back. Again, they were getting beat 31-13 at halftime. So a much better second half from Clemson. Maybe a little bit of a foot off the gas by McNeese when they had the big lead. BYU all over VCU, 60-47 at the half. Gonzaga up 48-27 over Georgia.
Real blood since I had Clemson in the Sweet 16.
Well, yeah, that will.
Just noticing that.
I believe both of y'all have that. I think y'all were identical in that region.
Red Sharpies out.
A lot of blood being drawn. We're only about an hour away from Tennessee kicking off their tournament against Wofford. So we'll keep you updated on everything going on in the NCAA tournament. But we need to get to a break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
First ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure for the first time ever. With unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, what? I can't even say those prices. But I will say they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure. When you're under I-40, Family
service that is out of this world. Fat Larry's cooks everything made to order just for you. Dine in or order online at fatlarrys.com. We're the best barbecue, southern cooking, and friendly atmosphere in town. Family owned and proud of it. Fat Larry's, conveniently located at 7537 Highway 70, just west of Appleton.
Volkswagen Deal Days are on, and it's your best time to buy a Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Right now, 2024 Taos SE is only $239 a month. How about 2025 Jetta SE? We Gossett $269 a month. New 2023 Taos SE is only $26,998. All 2024 Volkswagen Atlas SEL Peak Editions or all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport SELR lines, $5,000 off. Plus new 2023 VW Atlas SE Tech, $31,999. So hurry to Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com. Gossett is charging for it and charging less every day. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen.
CSMO 49051, MSRP 27116, Taos SE, RM 107067, MSRP 30658, 23 Taos, MSRP 32119, Tech PC 513081, MSRP 43646, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
The Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation plans to renew the hazardous waste storage and treatment permit for Excel TSD of Tennessee, LLC. TDEC invites the public to submit comments on this proposal during a 45-day comment period ending on May 5th, 2025. For further information, see the public notice in today's edition of the Commercial Appeal or call the Division of Solid Waste Management in Nashville at 615-532-0780. The application and draft permit may also be viewed at the Memphis Public Library, South Branch Library, or the TDEC Environment Field Office on Wolf Lake Drive. Once again, please call 615-532-0780 to learn more.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's on Highway 64 in Marlin, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Brett, my number today is 1,961. Last night we had the play-in games, the Dayton games, and we had Xavier beating Texas. So this number comes from that game. Zach Fremantle, who was the star of the night for Xavier, he played his first game for Xavier on November 5th, 2019. Last night, he played in his first NCAA tournament win 1,961 days later.
Great number.
That's the longest gap for any player this century between his first game played for a team and his first NCAA tournament win with the team.
2019.
That's insane. I don't know what.
How old is he?
So he is. He's got to be old. I mean, he's got to be about, I guess, a year younger than me, so 24,
24, yeah.
I mean, he's getting up there, but has missed a lot of time with injury and getting a COVID year and different things like that. He is.
Nobody knows what the eligibility.
No, I mean,
what it really is anymore.
We just might have guys out there just.
I don't mind
playing without eligibility left. Who knows? But
do you mind?
I don't care. It doesn't bother me that much.
DeAndre Williams can come back and play 3 or 4 more years.
Sure, I would love that. Bring him back.
Everybody would. Your big number, much bigger than mine. My big number is 6. That's the number of coaches remaining in the NCAA tournament that have won a national championship. In fact, they represent having won it 9 times among the 6 coaches. Izzo once. That's still amazing. He's only won it once. Hurley twice, back-to-back the last 2 years. Bill Self twice. Amazing, he won one, the first one. Calipari one, still shining at 1 trophy. Patino 2 at 2 different places. And Scott Drew.
Yeah.
Just one, but one.
Scott Drew, we'll see what he can do against Mississippi State. I think that'll be a fun game, but his Baylor team this year, it's not a Baylor team.
Just to prove that Scott Drew's name can be mentioned and I don't go back to the sabotage job by some on him here when he was set to be hired to replace John Calipari, I'm going to show you that I can move on and not talk about it.
Eventually.
Right now.
We'll move on and not talk about that, but you're right. It is 6 coaches left with national champions. How many are left standing after today?
We'll see.
I mean, a couple.
We know
at least
one's
one
not
will be
going to
knocked out. A couple.
Self and Cal.
Two could be knocked out. I doubt St. John's gets knocked out. But
Baylor plays tomorrow.
Yeah, so they don't play till tomorrow. But no, that is a really good nugget. A little bit of update of what we got going on right now.
Will Wade's going crazy.
Oh yeah, as
he's
he should.
lost his mind.
As he should.
Sure should.
Really, really good win for them. McNeese gets the 66-67. Only a 2-point win over Clemson after leading 31-13 at half. 54 points for Clemson in the second half. They outscored McNeese 54-38 to close that gap. Right now, 2 games going on. BYU up 66-52 over VCU with about 7.5 minutes left in that game. Still at the half, Gonzaga up 48-27 over Georgia. So it looks like BYU will advance, and it looks like Gonzaga heading towards advancing.
And for anyone out there today and into the earlier shows tomorrow, particularly John, who will be on remote, and please join him tomorrow at the Owner's Box in Lakeland. That'll be a lot of fun. I know already people are thinking, I'm taping these games, I want to watch them tonight. We're in the breaking news business. We're going to give these scores.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, going on in the middle of the day. I'm asking all my friends, are they working today? The amount of text messages I'm getting, live bet this, do that. Are you working today? I mean, did you just take off to watch all of these basketball games?
Are we working today?
Well, you know.
Not really.
Sometimes it's a little easier when you got the games on during the day. It doesn't feel much like work, but definitely a lot of good stuff. Again, only less than an hour now away until Tennessee tips off against Wofford. Then right after that, Arkansas and Kansas. Before we get to a break, we're getting close to the dinner hour. I know a lot of people thinking about what to do for tonight or into the weekend. When you think of Memphis, you think of barbecue. And you can get the world-famous Memphis-style barbecue any night at the Commissary. With locations in Germantown and Collierville, stop in for lunch, dinner, or get it to go. Start your meal with an appetizer like the cheese plate, chicken wings, or my favorite, the barbecue nachos. For more than 40 years, the Commissary has been a staple in this area, and a huge reason is the quality of food they serve. My go-to, it's got to be the ribs, but it's hard to resist the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled, get it by the plate or by the pound. Comes in handy with the sandwich pack. Feed the whole group with a 6-pack, 8-pack, even a 12-pack. And don't forget about the dessert like the delicious banana pudding, brownie, or the lemon icebox pie. Check out the entire menu and catering options at commissarybbq.com. Whether it's a watch party for your favorite team this weekend with all of the basketball going on, maybe an office party, let the Commissary cater your next event. Give them a call at 901-754-5540 to make any event perfect. But today, stop in at either location. In Germantown, open daily till 8 p.m. and in Collierville, open till 9 p.m. for the world-famous Memphis-style barbecue at the Commissary. Let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, talking more Tigers with Greg Gaston. He joins us next.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Whitten Road, TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Brakes Powder Coating for a beautiful
is here this Friday in the Owner's Box Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. It's the place to be for all the games. Fun, exciting, friendly, comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs, full bar, all your favorite beers, happy hour 3 to 6 Monday through Friday, an upscale menu. Come see me, Johnny Radio, this Friday 11 to 1. A little warm-up for the Tiger game that starts at 1 p.m. I'll be giving away $50 in gift cards every 30 minutes. The Owner's Box Bar and Grill.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Wrapping up a couple of wrecks we had earlier. It seemed like it took forever to clean up that wreck on 40 East near Hollywood as it gets heavier over there on that side of town. On 40 East, as you continue past Covington Pike, it's that time of day for it to crank up already. On 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County. If your yard needs a little bit of help this time of the year, you want to make it healthier, greener, call Lawn Solutions. With 30 years experience, Lawn Solutions, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jack Wild and Roller Bluff City. Once again,
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand.
We're back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And every Thursday afternoon, we talk Tigers, and we do it with Greg Gaston.
From the Tiger sideline, it's Tiger Stock with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us now to talk Tigers. Greg, let's go back to Selection Sunday. How surprised were you when it was revealed that Memphis would be a 5 seed?
Yeah, look, it was surprising to all of us because we got caught up with all the bracketologists out there and their predictions. But I got to be honest with you, I thought all along that they were going to be a 6, and so I was not totally shocked. Well, I was shocked, but I wasn't totally shocked as the 5 came out because Penny Hardaway on my show had recently said, listen, if we take care of business and we win the conference tournament, I think we are no worse than a 5. And so for some reason, even though he doesn't make the decision, I started to buy into it. And so, yeah, I was surprised, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think for a second, even though the Lenardis of the world had them as an 8 and others had them as a 7, I really did believe in my heart of hearts that they were going to be a 6. So I was pleasantly surprised that the committee did look more at the resume, the big wins that they had earlier in the year. They realized that even though they played in a bad conference, they won 16 of 18. And whatever they did with the analytics, they didn't base everything on the analytics. So I was surprised, and I was very happy for Memphis.
Yeah. Greg, in the end, a win was a win. That's all they had to do. That is the object of the game, of the sport. They did that 16 out of 18 times. I'll still say the 2 losses were not killers. In the end, the Temple loss, not very good. In the end, the Arkansas State loss, scratched up resume, but it was not a killer. Next year, around Super Bowl time, should we collectively in this building rethink our conversation, our groupthink around the net?
Yeah, probably.
And our discussion of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we learned a lesson. It doesn't mean that will be the case next year. I'm sure we'll still get hyped up and caught up and all the bracketologists and what they end up making as far as predictions are concerned. But I think we learned our lesson a little bit that it's it's the net, it's all these things combined, and it's not more net than it is everything else. So, yeah, I think we learn our lessons a little bit about what's going on, but I don't think, I don't think it'll go away completely because that's what we do. We get all hyped up when
the
they
net
fix
is
them
not
out.
dead.
The net's not dead, not yet anyway.
How
But
do we kill it, Greg?
I know. I mean, look, the whole thing. I had Ken Pomeroy on.
He's very much
several
alive.
weeks ago.
Ken Palm ain't
Yeah.
dead.
Well, Ken Palm's been around for a while, and it was funny because when I had him on and we talked about the net, and he basically said, "Yeah, the net's." He didn't say it in these words, but the net is my thing, and then they add the margin of victory into it. So
Yeah, they stole it.
They basically stole it. That's what he said, I think, and without saying those words.
The most uncreative group that's ever existed, the NCAA.
Yeah, they're not seen in a good light for a lot of different things.
But
including
the
that.
comeback to that, and it's my comeback, it only exists because member institutions support it and pay the dues.
No question about it. Yeah, it's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So now the Tigers, they'll face Colorado State tomorrow afternoon, a team that's on a 10-game win streak. I was looking at it. Over that 10-game win streak, they are shooting 48.5% from three. That'd be second best in that time span in the country. What do you notice about this Colorado State team that sticks out to you?
There's a lot of things. Excuse me. First of all, they run a really good-looking offense.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say good-looking, it's not choppy. It's smooth. They're cutting. They're moving all the time. They go to the open man. The ball movement is really, really good. So that's one thing. It's just the way it looks. It's crisp. Number two, they have a really standout player, like Memphis does in P.J. Haggerty, in Nate Clifford, who has been on a roll. He puts up numbers in all categories. He's a great leader out there. As you said, Brian, the three-point shooting is pretty darn good, so there's no weaknesses as far as that is concerned. I really look at this team, and I think that the only weakness may be the fact that they're not a big team. And perhaps somebody, I don't know, maybe he's got a name like something that sounds like Danger, could dominate inside the paint against a smaller front line that Colorado State has. So I don't see a lot of weaknesses, but it is a smallish front line, and maybe that's something that Memphis can take advantage of.
With the Hunter injury, the lack of size for Colorado State, how much early maybe running Twin Towers at them, but if you got in a fast-paced game, you'd get out of that pretty fast. But how much Cisse Danger on the floor at the same time, Greg?
Brett, that's a great point. We've seen that Twin Tower move by Penny Hardaway from time to time as the season has gone on. And I think it's something that could be utilized. And you're right, it depends on how the game's flowing, how closely they're going to call the game. You can
always get out of it.
You can always get out of it. And you might as well mix it up a little bit. But, yes, why not? They say not a real threat offensively other than getting it inside and dunking. And when you're talking about a front line with a big of 6'7", maybe stretching to 6'8", these guys can certainly, I would think, do some damage inside. But he's more for the defensive purposes. If they are able to back screen and get guys to the hole, your last line of defense would be a guy like Cisse, where Dane Danger is not a great defensive player. He's a very good rebounder, and he does block some shots. He's not the best in man-to-man defense, whereas Moussa Cisse hangs his hat on defense. So, yeah, I could see that happening, certainly. We've seen it here recently, so why not try to take advantage of that? Now, that would be more, I think, in that half-court setting, whereas this Tigers team certainly wants to come out and establish them getting up and down the court. But if you start going at the neck, the speed of the sound like they like to do, and start throwing the ball over the gym, then you got to settle down and maybe put more of an emphasis on half-court, on the bigs, getting it inside. And in that case, I think you do see from time to time, and if it works, maybe more than just from time to time, the Twin Towers.
Coach Hardaway has picked his spots on using that, though, and it's almost always paid off.
I remember one of the games I called, it was the first time that I remember them using it. Now, they may have used it because I haven't seen every second of every game, games that I haven't broadcast, but for the most part, I don't remember a lot of it earlier in the year. But when I did this game, and I forget which game it was, they brought out Cisse, or I don't know if Danger was starting then. Either way, they were both on the floor, and I said that on the broadcast. I go, wow, they're going with the Twin Towers here, and we've seen it more here recently. Take advantage of it. If you have the opportunity to have that size advantage, why not go with these two guys from time to time in a game?
Yeah. We learned earlier today Tyrese Hunter will not play tomorrow, but it feels like Dante Harris slowly getting back. I don't know. Probably say pretty unlikely that he goes tomorrow, but if you win, maybe you could get him back on Sunday. What does that mean for this team with Tyrese Hunter missing tomorrow?
It's a big loss. It's an experienced player who's played in the tournament. He's a leader. Maybe I would say the leader of this team. There's a few guys that have experience, but most of them don't have it in the postseason. But they have won games without Hunter having big games. They've won games without Hunter scoring the ball. They're not missing a 20-point-per-game scorer. They're not missing a guy like Haggerty who is buckets and is vital to a team. But it is a void, and that's why I think when the odds came out at first, and the bookmakers in Vegas made Colorado State a 2.5-point favorite. It's now moved down to 1.5 in most books. I think that's because of Tyrese Hunter. And so it's also, on the other token, you have a guy who put in all this work with this team this year. Since making the move to come to Memphis, he's been a leader. He's been a true professional, if you will, for being a college player, but we know they're professionals now. They make money. And so for him to not be able to play in the postseason, you feel for the guy. Your heart goes out to him, even though he's had some experience in the past in the postseason, playing for Texas, Oklahoma State, but he's playing now for Memphis, and he won't be on the court. But he will be there. He will be there to root on his team. He'll be there to shed the light for somebody who maybe wilting under the big lights of the NCAA tournament. He will be there to pick them up. He will be a coach, basically, on the sidelines for Memphis. Now, Dante Harris, who to me still looks like there's a little hitch in the giddy up. I don't know what his status is. It would be really, really positive if they can have him for some minutes at least in this game. He's also a player who's been around the block a few times and was a nice addition for Memphis at the midterm. But more than likely, this is going to fall on the shoulders of Baraka Okoje, who was a guy who was expected to be a rotation player game in, game out at the beginning of the year. And then when Harris was acquired, he became more irrelevant. But now he becomes very, very relevant. He's going to have to be able to handle the ball, not turn the ball over, an occasional bucket, but really that is not that important. It's more about his ability to be able to handle the ball. They need somebody along with Haggerty. Look, Haggerty turns the ball over a lot. I don't know if people know that. He's not a pure and true point guard. So Okoje would pick that up, help him handle the ball, especially if there's any kind of pressure or press from Colorado State. And then defense. We know the intensity he brings to the defensive side. He's a really good lockdown defender. Now, he can't be overzealous because they will whistle fouls against him. There's a lot of times we've seen this year where he's come to a game, he's gotten a quick foul or two because he likes to play right in your grill, and when the officials are calling it close, they're going to whistle him for that. So he's got to be a little conscious of that. But you also have P.J. Carter that will be able to help out on the offensive end. So between those two guys, they got to be able to fill the Hunter void.
Greg, you mentioned wilting on the big stage. We've seen it happen in Tiger basketball history. Too many of us remember what happened to Vincent Askew up at the Final Four against Villanova in that Saturday game in Lexington in 1985. You saw it with Will Barton wanting to shoot every time he touched it in the loss to Rick Majerus and SLU. We saw it a little bit with Will Witherspoon in a first-round loss to Arizona when he wouldn't or couldn't block out and go a little bit harder for a loose ball. Are you scared of anybody doing that without mentioning names? Are you scared of a potential wilter?
The unknown is scary, right? The
It
unknown,
is.
guys that have not played in this type of environment. So it is scary. But right now, I feel pretty confident with this group that they know what they're doing, that they won't try to bite off more than they can chew, that they'll play within their own abilities. I don't expect a player to all of a sudden go crazy because it's the NCAA tournament and a guy who may shoot it 5 times all of a sudden chucks it up 20 times. I think the roles have been defined. We have seen that all year long, and I expect that to happen starting tomorrow against Colorado State. I would be surprised, Brett, but it's not impossible that it can happen because it's going to happen all around the country in games that are played tomorrow and games that are played today with players that are either trying to do too much or players that are trying to maybe hide behind others because they just can't handle the pressure.
Mm-hmm. I just read this off the commercial appeal. Jonah Dillon caught up with Jalen Young, who is now with your Maryland Terrapins, before their practice today in Seattle. And this was a quote from Jalen Young, obviously a part of the Tigers last year. Quote, "I didn't feel like we stayed connected all the way through the end of the season. I feel like there was a lot of selfishness happening. Everybody was a scorer, so it was kind of hard to fit everybody together." Talking about last year's team, you just don't have that on this year's team. We've kind of talked about it. It's a little different hearing it from a guy on that team, but you don't have that with this year's Tiger team.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's pretty good. That's, first of all, it's a great quote. It's not surprising. We all knew that, but to hear it from an actual player who was part of that roster, it just kind of hammers home that point, that there was selfishness, that there was too many players that looked about doing things for themselves and not for the team. And you're right, Brian, we have not seen that at all this year. Look, it's easy to maybe get jealous of Haggerty. He's getting all the national attention.
And getting
He's
ready
a
to get the
consensus
cash.
All-American.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's a consensus All-American. Yet, I never saw it from Hunter. This is a guy who is hoping to play in the NBA. Of course, they both are, but I never saw one bit of that. Any type of jealousy, Haggerty's getting all the accolades. Or even now, the Haggerty-Dane Danger thing. Haggerty getting the MVP or the most outstanding player of the conference tournament to match his Player of the Year award in conference. Dane Danger had a great run, and yet you don't see any of that. I think these guys really, truly like each other, like playing on the same team, like going out together. Penny talked about this the other day. Just the camaraderie between these guys, that they're always with each other. They go to dinner together. They go whatever else they do, watch a movie, play video games. They all do it together. So, yeah, I don't see the jealousy at all that certainly, unfortunately, arose last year and at the most inopportune time during conference play and then into the conference tournament itself, and they come up empty when it comes to the NCAA. This is not the case with this team at all.
Not a hint of chemistry issues this year. And Greg, Brian, all of us, we hear every story around town, and we have to be able to discern, what's good information and what's bad. I didn't hear a hint of one this year. Now, Greg, 2 years ago, we were sailing along at this same point. Then we got up in Columbus, and Kendrick and Malcolm wanted to fight on the bench.
Yeah, that was not pretty, not at all. And things can change, I guess, at the drop of a hat. I just don't feel that will be the case. If they lose this game tomorrow,
me and you fight in the hallway here. That's going to be the indicator.
What I was going to say is, if they lose this game tomorrow, they will have been beaten by Colorado State. I don't think this is something where they are going to implode.
No, it really doesn't feel like it. You mentioned P.J. Haggerty being named All-American. AP All-Americans came out. Second team, really big. First time since 2008 you've had an AP All-American on the team. What did you make of all of the honors that P.J. Haggerty's received?
He deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. Think about this. He was a freshman last year at Tulsa, and wasn't even on the all-conference, so I don't know where he ended up landing, if he was even an all-conference selection at all. Do you remember, Brian? He was first, second. He wasn't first team.
I don't think he was, no.
I don't think he was on any of the teams. And then he comes here to Memphis. He makes a big change, and not only is he the player of the year in the conference, he's an All-American. Now, when we talked to him the other day at the presser, and he was asked about it, he said, and he talks very, very low, very quiet. He said something like, "Yeah, I got snubbed from the first team."
Look out.
Yeah, so he's upset that he wasn't first team, and he got some first team support. And there are other people. I think it may be Andy Katz. What's that?
He feels slighted.
He feels slighted. There are some people that had him as a first teamer. I looked at that with, I don't want to put blue blinders on or anything like that, but I could easily have seen him first team. But then again, I see who was picked for the first team, and I can go along with that. I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at. Second team All-American, and again, the first since CDR. So, well deserved, job well done, and great recognition for the program as well.
Yeah, feels like plenty of motivation. PJ Haggerty wanted to show out why he's first team, and then obviously being an underdog for tomorrow's game. So bulletin board material all over the place for the Tigers tomorrow against Colorado State. Greg, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, enjoy the games, guys.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Greg. Thank you so much. Greg Gasson, always with us. You're around talking the Tigers, and this is what we live for.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Here it is, and playing at one of just the all-time great arenas in sports, and just, you know, the type of
Homie, you got the Kraken gear on?
I got it on. I mean, just the type of...
Have you taken the Climate Pledge for Climate Pledge Arena?
I have not.
I don't want to read the fine print.
I don't want to read the fine print of Climate Pledge Arena, but just the ball, or I guess puck, that gets played in that building, it is top tier.
Is that where, if they get an NBA team, it will go?
I think so. I believe so. It feels like every big game they have there, they have at Climate Pledge Arena. So it feels like if they get an NBA team. I need to read the fine print
before I sign the Climate Pledge.
Maybe a little bit.
Wish I'd read the fine print on Tiger Bankroll this year.
Yeah, got to get the Tiger Bankroll.
Because we are down.
Wow.
This is how it is, Bryant. I talk about this is when the tears flow.
Yeah.
This could be, I don't think it is, but this could be our last pick of the year.
It could, and that's a really good point. I mean, it is. We knew that with the AAC conference tournament that you felt pretty good. I mean, I guess unless you just got blown out in the first game against Wichita State, that there would be another game to have Tiger Bankroll for, but not anymore. Now you survive and advance. So now it's really the money management and how are you going to throw your weight around with them.
First picks made on opening night, Monday, November 4th. Memphis, a 4.5-point favorite over Mizzou. You took Memphis for 15. Darian took the Tigers for 50. Connor took the Tigers for 25. All winners.
Wow.
I took Mizzou laying the 4.5 for 75 and lost.
What do you know? I mean,
what did I know? I'm in first place now, though. I do know that.
Yes,
at 20
change.
At 24-20, and we're going off 1.5. Colorado State 1.5. I take the Tigers for $30 this year. I have taken the Tigers 14 times and picked against them 21 times.
Yeah.
Darian sent me his pick. This year, he has taken the Tigers 24 times and gone against them 10 times. He takes the Tigers plus the 1.5 for 150. Connor has taken the Tigers 21 times this year, gone against 14 times. He takes the Tigers for 150.
All right.
So we've had 2 group locks all year. The last group lock was January 30th down at Tulane, and we won it. We're 1-1 in group locks.
Yep.
Bryant, with a lot hanging on it. Maybe the taking down, like in communist bloc countries when they change the dear leader, they take down the portraits of all the old ones. Your degree could come down, your alumni dues, they don't go up, they strip you of it.
That's right.
Do we get an NC tournament group lock or not from you?
Well, here's the thing. I love that this number is set at Colorado State minus 1.5 because, and everyone knows what I picked in my bracket because we did that 2 days ago, the left side of the bracket. I picked the Tigers to win this game in advance. So with it being at 1.5, that really means that either, because I guess, the Tigers could, Colorado State could win by 1, and I guess, they could win by 1, and I'd still win by covering, but the Tigers would be out and would be done. But this, really, the likelihood of that is very little. What's either going to happen is Colorado State's going to win and cover, and we all lose, or Memphis wins, they cover, and we advance and continue to play. So we're going to go with a group lock here, and I'm going to put $500 on it because I got to get back into this somehow. And, you know, like I said, either in my mind, either Colorado State wins and we're done, and I'm either a big loser, or somehow they squeak a 1-point win and I win $500 and we're done, or the Tigers win and we keep playing. I need that $500.
And you stay alive, and then that would take you to 1405 with a big bet in the next round that hits.
Yeah,
you're kind of back in the game.
How about that? So we will.
I'm at 2420. Darian's at 2380. Connor's at 1280. You're at 905.
All right,
but +5.
Yeah.
Kind of going to about have to do the same thing next round.
Yeah. Oh, and then that's when it gets tricky because, you know, that's going to be a much tougher matchup. And
but this could have been the last pick. I don't think it is.
Take it all in. Take it all in because it could be the last. I don't think it's going to be, though. I think I'm with you. I think the Tigers win tomorrow.
I think easily.
State. I won't go that far, but I will.
8 or 9. Is that easy?
Yeah, I would say.
When you're underdog, yeah.
I'll say 8 or 9.
The whole seed thing, though.
Sure, you know, but still, I'd say that's pretty easy. I mean, if you're flirting with double-digit win, you know, I would say that's pretty easy. But before we get to a break, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsors. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team, they're ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with reservations from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
The Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation plans to renew the hazardous waste storage and treatment permit for Excel TSD of Tennessee, LLC. TDEC invites the public to submit comments on this proposal during a 45-day comment period ending on May 5th, 2025. For further information, see the public notice in today's edition of the Commercial Appeal or call the Division of Solid Waste Management in Nashville at 615-532-0780. The application and draft permit may also be viewed at the Memphis Public Library, South Branch Library, or the TDEC Environment Field Office on Wolf Lake Drive. Once again, please call 615-532-0780 to learn more.
We are ready to meet anyone on your new Hyundai from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Listen to this, Mid-South 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. This is what deals are made of at Gossett Hyundai 1870 Covington Pike. Online, HyundaiGossett.com. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
341-155 MSRP 25. 25160. Elantra RU 821 411, MSRP 28780. Convenience SU 856 185, MSRP 27020. Sonata RU 415 696, MSRP 29110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Whether you need to do work on 1 acre or keep up 1,000 acres, Calv Equipment has the equipment for you. For large landowners, Calv Equipment has Coyote tractors and all the implements to get your job done. For commercial cutters and you large homeowners that want the best commercial, zero-turn, stand-on, or walk-behind mowers, Calv has Exmark and Toro commercial mowers along with Red Max and Echo commercial blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. If you have land to work, Calv Equipment has the tools for you. Visit Calv Equipment, 4900 Old Summer Road, 1 block north of Summer and Mendenhall.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant objective feedback, hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Forever, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis now in Cordova and Connerville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Filling out paperwork on that earlier collision on 40 eastbound near Germantown Parkway. Still a lot of traffic volume trying to get out in that area there on 40 East as you pass Germantown Parkway, continuing on into Fayette County. It's still a bit busy. 240 East up by Poplar. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you as we got a little less than 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending, and the college basketball is what's trending this afternoon. I saw this. We were talking about the
It's the whole world.
I mean, it's everything. I saw this earlier from our friend Doug Kazarian about the Clemson-McNeese game.
We'll get Doug back next week.
Absolutely. He posted this about the Clemson-McNeese game. I talked about the amount of points that Clemson scored in the second half. 44 total points at halftime, 92 total points in the second half, 20 total points in the final minute of the game. The total ended up being 136. The books opened at 134. The books closed at 137. That is crazy.
They know, don't they?
They are all over it. They know, and
they take it really seriously.
You know, there's a lot on the line when it comes.
It's a lot on the line.
That's right. When it comes to the money that they are dealing with, a lot goes into it.
Most surprising thing of the day to 533.27.
I would say the most surprising is maybe how the way that both Gonzaga is beating Georgia and the way that McNeese for most of the game beat Clemson. I thought that would be a kind of closer game. Obviously, it became a closer game, but for, 35 minutes of that game, it was all McNeese, and, we're up huge at halftime.
This is particularly dreadful Georgia performance.
Oh, it's really bad. And, I mean, we've seen that at times this
One
year.
that could give administration pause.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly don't feel good about it.
Or we know where we're going to be this time next year if it doesn't go well.
Yeah, maybe kind of that foreshadowing of things better
But
turn
not
around.
even at Georgia do they want to be paying a guy not to work?
And so with about 4.5 minutes left in that one, Gonzaga.
It's over. You can call the state.
They're up 85-60. I mean, that game is over. So Gonzaga will
all electoral
advance.
votes go to Gonzaga.
That's right. Yes, they all go that way. We're less than 20 minutes away from the next game that gets started. That's the only game going on right now. Next game to get started will be Tennessee and Wofford up in Lexington. Another game that went final, BYU, an 80-71 win over VCU. So that's a little bit of a whip around what's going on in college basketball right now.
That alphabet soup game did not scratch up anyone here. All of us had BYU. I think there are probably some places it did.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think VCU was a I don't want to call it a super trendy pick, but I saw a lot of people liking VCU.
You mentioned our friend Doug Kazarian. He had a good note. The Tigers are a 5 seed that's the underdog.
Yeah.
This is the third time that's happened.
Yeah.
The two previous times, both favored teams, the 12s, won.
Oh,
so
wow.
the Tigers are looking to stop that at 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, that would maybe odds against you, but I like the Tigers.
Slight
chances.
odds, 1.5,
Sure.
but still underdog.
But still an underdog, which kind of surprised me that there haven't been more of those. Just because you hear everyone saying you got to pick a 12 over a 5.
Here's one that in 2 weeks, as we're talking about San Antonio, and my question over the last few weeks of who could be 2 years ago UConn. We could be looking up and going, we were not prepared for how good Wisconsin that they really are.
Yeah, it's a different Wisconsin team. I mean,
didn't think they'd lose to Montana, but thought it'd be closer than that.
Sure, yeah, and I mean, this is a much better offensive team in Wisconsin than we've seen really in a while. And so, yeah, they could definitely do some damage and maybe be that team, get out of the way and look out because it doesn't set up too terribly bad for them, I don't think.
What will be the most surprising thing between now and the time we rest our head on a pillow?
I think it is going to be Drake over Missouri.
I have that as well.
I think that is going to be the upset. What would really be crazy if Yale could pull off what they did last year again against Texas A&M. That would certainly be
2 years in a row against the SEC.
That would certainly be mayhem. We got to give away some money. Speaking of all the Vegas and everything we're talking about, we got a Tiger Cash giveaway. We got to do this right now. We're going to do trivia again. We did that earlier this week. Had a lot of success with it. So we're going to go right back to that again. As long as the Tigers are alive in the NCAA tournament, we'll be giving away $98.50 each day on either Sports 56 Mornings, Happy Hour, or right here on Sports Time. So text line. Text it in. The answer, if you've got it, 901-360-8255. Text line. If you got this answer, text it in, and we'll first correct answer wins. Brett, give us the question of the day.
The question on Monday when we got to give away the cash was Penny Hardaway's first NCAA tournament win at Memphis, and it was correctly answered. Pepperdine. Sadly, what was his last NCAA tournament game as a Tiger? Who did the Tigers lose to?
Okay.
And for just extra bragging rights, no extra cash, just extra bragging rights, who was the star of that other team?
Okay.
Little bitty Mighty Mike guard for that other team, but who was the team that caused Coach Penny Hardaway to lose his last game with the Memphis State Tigers on the front of the uniform?
Penny Hardaway's final game as a Tiger
in the NCAA tournament at his future home in Orlando.
Okay, so who did it come against? Text that in right now, and you will win a little bit of cash. The Tiger Cash giveaway, $98.50. It will be yours. Make sure you get those answers in. You'll be better than me if you get it right, because I do not have the answer to that one. While we're waiting on those answers to roll in, Arkansas, Kansas tonight. Right now, Kansas a 5.5-point favorite. What do you think happens in that one that gets started here in just about 30 minutes?
I've had Kansas the whole time staying there with them, and I don't know how easy or difficult it'll be, but I think they win the game against Arkansas. And if they don't, that's 2 years in a row of really ugly exits for Bill Self.
Yeah.
If they do, it continues a string now of ugly exits for John Calipari.
Yeah, I mean it's really a almost a something's got to give game for kind of both these sides. Kansas just really has not played very well.
Do you ever bank enough goodwill? John Calipari and Bill Self kind of both needing a first round win. That's crazy talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. These two coaches they don't. They're fine with what they're doing, but Kansas just feels like going in the wrong direction late in the season. Arkansas, at least John Calipari with some of those exits that he's had, you would like to see him.
Oakland, St. Peter's.
Yeah, I mean those aren't good teams. That's not Kansas,
No.
that would not be.
At least he could say it was Kansas.
Yeah, it was Kansas. It was Bill Self. It was one of those things. So we'll see what happens tonight in that one. But some really good games. You look at this. Obviously, a lot of Tennessee fans will be watching this one coming up soon against Wofford. You've got the Kansas-Arkansas game, Yale, Texas A&M, Drake, Missouri, Utah State, UCLA, Omaha, St. John's, UC San Diego, Michigan, and then UNC Wilmington, Texas Tech. We've got our first guess for the Tiger Cash giveaway. Again, the question is, who was the final game against for Penny Hardaway in the NCAA tournament? A loss that ended his Memphis State career. Who did it come against? Text in those answers, 901-360-8255. If you're right, you will win $98.50. The first guest comes in, Cincinnati. Not Cincinnati. Keep those guesses coming in.
That was the year before.
All right, so just a year
in the Elite
off.
Eight.
Just a year off. Keep those guesses coming in. Who was it? Who beat Memphis and Penny Hardaway in his final game as a Memphis Tiger? You text that in, 901-360-8255. You'll win $98.50.
The general manager of the then Orlando Magic said after watching him in practice and even in that game, low-scoring affair loss, that he knew, I got to make a deal draft day to get this guy with Shaq.
Holy cow. Wow.
Pat Williams, legendary NBA
even in defeat. We got another guess, Arkansas.
Now, that was the year before, and that was a win.
Wow. So everyone's just a year early. Let's go to that next year.
Think spring of 93.
All right.
We're thinking spring of 92 so far.
Just a little early. I should give another shout out to our sponsors, Mid-South Small Engine, Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold inspector in the Mid-South, Cobb Equipment, Buster's Butcher, and Buster's Liquor. We have another guest coming in, and it is Western Kentucky.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding.
The winner.
We have a winner.
Any extra credit on the star for Western Kentucky?
Just the guess of Western Kentucky. Go ahead and give us that play.
Daryl Mee.
Okay.
M-E-E.
Wow. Okay. M-E-E.
You can spell me with two E's.
Wow. Okay. I guess so.
Daryl Mee, man. It was one of those low scoring. You knew from the beginning. Tick-tock at the end, just kind of grind it out. And a little bit like this year, if they win, something could get unlocked, and another good run like the year before with the great Penny Hardaway, and Western Kentucky just had barely enough. I think 55-53 was like the final.
Wow. All right, so we got the first win for Penny Hardaway, and then we got the final unfortunate loss for Penny Hardaway against Western Kentucky. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow afternoon we're talking about another Penny Hardaway tournament win, but this time as a head coach. I feel pretty good about it.
Jason Munns made such a great point. Just with this weekend in Seattle, can double your all-time win total.
It's crazy. That is insane.
That's about the only good thing of him being stuck at one.
Yeah.
And this year in one fell swoop weekend in Seattle, go to 3.
Sure could. And so, it starts tomorrow. It starts against Colorado State. I know Jason said it. I know Greg said it. I know we've said it even before. But I do think it's going to be do the exact same thing, especially early in games, that you did against a lot of these AAC teams, where when your first possession, get it down to Dane, let him try to get things rolling inside, because I do think you have the advantage in the front court against this Colorado State team.
Kentucky goes tomorrow night, right?
Yes,
6:10 tomorrow night.
That's right.
If Mark Pope lost that first game to Troy, do you think the honeymoon is over for him? Would that be what's really changed?
It certainly would not be a good end to his first season. It would be close to honeymoon ending.
It would be, especially there.
He's one of those, we talked to Kevin Sweeney yesterday, and he talked about Darren DeVries taking the Indiana job, and he said, Darren DeVries can coach. We know that part. We know that that's not going to be an issue. The question is, can he do all of the extra stuff? Can he go out there and kiss babies and take the pictures and all of that stuff? Mark Pope has that down. I mean, he has that side of it already down. I saw going into this game tomorrow.
Billy Gillespie never got that.
Well, no. And honestly, with some of the things Mark Pope is doing, I think some people are trying to tell him, hey, maybe don't do that. He early in the season said that all fans in attendance got a free ice cream cone or something like that after the game, and that was a lot of money because every fan stayed after to get their ice cream, or it was an ice cream sandwich or something like that. Now, at his last radio show, he said that he wanted to help out anybody that needed help with gas money to go to the game. And so, like, all these people are emailing him, and he said that he had a guy from, like, Florida that's a Kentucky student but was in Florida and was like, yeah, I want to go to the game, would love gas money from Florida. And supposedly he's helping people out with gas money. I'm sure somebody in there is going. And I saw someone got an email back that said, hey, Coach Pope would love to help you out with your gas money. And in the email it said, please verify that there will be nobody with you in the recruiting age. And it gave the recruiting age of like 15 to 18. And it can't be giving money for gas money to somebody that has a recruitable kid.
You can't make it rain like that.
No. So, but we'll see what Kentucky can do tomorrow night against Troy. Well, we need to get to our final break of the day. When we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time to visit Mid-South Small Engines in 2645 Mount Moriah. Call 901-794-6400. Let's get serious about your lives. Step up to the best motor brand money can buy. Skag. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than the best when it comes to mowing your lawns. There's sure to be a Skag mower that's perfect for your landscape business and Mid-South Small Engines. 2645 Mount Moriah, or call 901-794-6400.
Sometimes you just want to leave fast, like the fun that comes from a quick and nimble 2024 Honda CB500F. This amazing style streetlights with a narrow 171cc twin, along with sleek Kia display, dual disc brakes, and standard ABS, all at a affordable price. Find fun in all wearing classes with 2024 Honda CB500F, available at DeSoto Honda, 5656 Winter Road in Olive Branch.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time somebody has recognized me as the spokesperson for Central Barbecue,
One of the spokespersons.
one of the spokespeople, I wouldn't have a nickel because we do these for the radio. But I'm proud to be the spokesperson for Central Barbecue.
One of the...
You know what I mean? I'm proud because all of us who do this have had to do ads for things we didn't necessarily believe in.
Yeah, I know I have.
I know you have too.
Hey.
But we get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue, the best barbecue in Memphis.
In the world. All aboard, football fans! The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
When it comes to college basketball and the big tournament, bet the unexpected. Every upset, every day with DraftKings Sportsbook, the ultimate college basketball destination for March. New DraftKings customers, bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I love it. Bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app. The code is HERD, H-E-R-D. $200 in bonus bets, betting just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Head
your best shot during the Dunking Deals sales event at Sunrise Buick GMC at Wolf Chase. We're loaded with new and used inventory. A huge selection of vehicles under $15,000. Huge rebates, big discounts, and low interest rates on new vehicles. We've got it all at Sunrise. Worried about your credit? Don't be, because we work hard to make you a vehicle. Don't miss the Dunking Deals sales event going on now at Sunrise Buick GMC at Wolf Chase. We make it fun to buy a car.
All financing on approved credit.
Pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is where all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that earlier today it was revealed what the NFL owners will be voting on at the league meetings at the end of this month. A couple that jumped out to me: the Lions proposed changes to the playoff seeding format, allowing wildcard teams to be seeded higher than the division winners if the wildcard team has a higher record. This was a quote from the story that I saw earlier today. In a fiercely competitive 2024 NFL North Division race, the Lions, Vikings, and Packers all finished with 11 or more wins. Each of those three teams finished higher than the eventual NFL South winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers and NFC West winning LA Rams, both of whom secured home playoff games with a 10-7 record. So what the Lions are proposing is everything stays the same in terms of what teams make the playoffs, but if a wild card team has a better record than one of the teams that win their division, they get the higher seed, which in turn would give them home field advantage. Some of the other things that are going to be voted on, we know that the tush push is going to be a big one that is voted on. And also, how about this? Detroit just throwing out a bunch of things they want getting voted on. Detroit submitted a rule change seeking to eliminate automatic first downs when penalized for defensive holding and illegal contact, which is hilarious because Detroit led the league with 11 defensive holding calls.
The rookie from Alabama.
Yeah, it was bad.
Not many rules get changed to help the defense, though. No. It's usually the other way around. What I learned, it's going the wrong direction for the Grizzlies. Last week's winning at home has turned into the worst way to start the season's longest road trip. Now 0-2, and the effort is in question, and we wait for the bad news we always seem to get with Ja. 6 feet and 170 pounds is the reason why we get a lot of bad news with Ja.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right about that. What I could have done without today is I saw this story earlier today. The Los Angeles Angels, they are banning cell phones from the clubhouse.
For the last 2 weeks.
It will not last very long. Now, I will say this. This was something that Ron Washington had in Texas, and supposedly it was a big hit. All the guys were getting behind it. There were $500 fines if you got caught with a cell phone. The only difference, though, is the Rangers had a ton of success in that time. The Angels have not and will not have much success. They said they're still trying to iron out what the fines will be and what the punishment will be, but it started as just in the locker room, no cell phones, and now it has grown to the entire clubhouse, no cell phones.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it anymore. I really don't. I could have done without another horrendous job turned in by Dr. Condoleezza Rice. At least this bad job didn't cost us billions of dollars and untold number of injuries and lives. The coach she hired at Stanford is the football coach in all these ugly stories out there. She's untouchable by the media and has never done anything well.
Nah, you're right about that. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me too, Providence for Razorbacks in Kansas.
Yeah.
Remember the last time these two met in the NCAA tournament, Arkansas pulled off the upset, and then Eric Mossman pulled off his shirt. And paraded around like a lunatic.
Well, he did.
Bill Self didn't forget that.
No, he did not.
Razorback fans that laughed it up at it tonight. If Kansas does something late in victory, don't get offended.
Yeah, might be paying for it. Beam me to Drake in Missouri tonight. I'm really excited about this matchup. I think two great stories playing out in front of us. Drake with their head coach Ben McCullum coming from the Division II ranks, bringing a handful of his players from D2 and having a ton of success at Drake. But on the other side, let's not forget about what last season was for Dennis Gates in Missouri, not winning a single game in conference play and just being the laughingstock of that conference, being able to bounce back a 22-11 record this season as a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament. This game just has so many good storylines, and I picked Drake. I want Drake to win, but whoever wins this will be a really, really fun story.
I'm looking forward to the Bulldogs of Drake as well tonight against Mizzou. I'm also looking forward to the Bulldogs of Yale versus the Texas Aggies. Utah State, more Aggies against all that NCAA tournament history against UCLA. That's always a mismatch of the history book. UC San Diego at 9 o'clock against Big Blue in Michigan. 9:10 Texas Tech and UNCW, North Carolina Wilmington. And at 9:30, we got to watch the Lakers and the Bucks.
That's right. Yeah, we got to keep an eye on what's going on with those teams in front of the Grizzlies. But going to be a great night of basketball. Obviously, focused on the college basketball, but definitely some good NBA in there as well.
I may stay up later than you tonight. That never happens.
You might. I don't know. We might put it to a test.
Because I got to stay up and grade these brackets.
That's true. You have to stay up till the very last horn. Now, I should remind everybody, this is our last show for the week. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll have complete coverage of Ole Miss, North Carolina. Pre-game will start at 2:30 for that 3 o'clock tip. And let me remind you what we've got. Whole lot of Ole Miss over the weekend. Saturday, Ole Miss at Missouri baseball. That will be 3:30 pre-game for a 4 o'clock first pitch. And then Sunday, we'll either have, depending on what happens tomorrow for the Rebels, Ole Miss NCAA tournament game. We might have that on Sunday. If not, we'll have Ole Miss baseball as they wrap up the series against Missouri. But enjoy all of the action. I mean, it'll be, again, tomorrow around 11, get the game started. We know we'll have Memphis around 1 o'clock, Ole Miss at 3 o'clock, all the local flavors of the teams going either tonight or tomorrow. A whole lot of fun. Enjoy all of it, and we'll talk to you again Monday afternoon.